mind and allows one to savor life. As I age, I find myself increasingly drawn to tea. Wang Yu lifted the teacup to her lips, taking a sip that sparked her senses. After another taste, she remarked, "This tea possesses a unique flavor, distinctly different from what I usually drink." "What makes it unique?" "The tastes are generally quite similar," Xiang Zhuo interjected, pouring himself a cup and downing it in one go. "The only difference lies in the price, if I recall correctly. This batch was purchased at auction for several $100,000. Indeed, this is the very tea bought at the last auction. Its fragrance is exquisite. If you cannot appreciate it, perhaps you should refrain from drinking it," Xiang Tai observed, a pang of concern for his son evident as he watched him indulge so recklessly. Such a high-grade tea is rare and elusive, not easily obtained even with wealth. She seldom brings it out to enjoy. It pained her to see it squandered in this manner. Xiang Yu held the teacup delicately, his slender fingers caressing the cup's surface, a subtle smile playing on his round face. His keen eyes surveyed Wang Yu, and after savoring a sip of the tea, he turned to Xiang Zhuo with a teasing tone. "This tea is not meant for quenching thirst. Your method of consumption resembles that of drinking plain water. No wonder Mother looks pained." He then filled his cup to the brim once more. "As long as it tastes good, that is enough for me. I have plenty more here. I will take some back for old Master Wang when I leave." Xiang Tai regarded Wang Yu, her face radiating warmth and joy. Given her status, it was customary not to treat Wang Yu with such formality, especially considering she was merely a junior, particularly as her husband, Xiang Huqiang, the patriarch of the Xiang family, was hastily returning home. She extended Wang Yu considerable courtesy, as Xiang Tai personally went to the airport to receive him, and they returned home together in her car. She even brought out the precious Anshi Tiguanyin, valued at hundreds of thousands per kilogram. In all of Hong Kong, no young person could boast of such treatment as Wang Yu received. Even if there were others, they would be filled with trepidation, fearful of failing to meet the necessary decorum. The Xiang family has dominated Hong Kong Island for over a century, although in recent years they have moderated their once fierce demeanor, refraining from violence. However, the elders of Hong Kong remember well the origins of the Xiang family, and few dare to be audacious in their presence. Yet, before Ms. Xiang, Wang Yu maintains an air of tranquility, exuding calmness, neither servile nor arrogant, as if Ms. Xiang were merely an ordinary acquaintance. Ms. Xiang, unperturbed, acknowledges his demeanor. The resources behind Wang Yu are truly formidable. Most perceive the Wang family as titans in heavy industry, but only those of certain stature realize the extent of the influence wielded by old Master Wang. The mere establishment of a connection between the Xiang and Wang families could solidify their foothold in the mainland, allowing their company to flourish without the constraints of the Hong Kong market. This is not merely a fanciful notion of Ms. Xiang. Her son, Xiang Zhuo, is friends with Wang Yu, and as long as that relationship persists, it represents a rare opportunity for the Xiang family. Wang Yu is the only male heir of the Wang family's current generation. No need for that. It will be too much trouble. Wang Yu politely declines Ms. Xiang's generous offer. Xiang Yu, gently swaying his teacup, remarks with a hint of mischief, "Do not be so modest. It is rare for my mother to meet someone she connects with. If she truly takes a liking to you, not even 10 oxen could pull her back. Last time, a business magnate offered a fortune for these tea leaves, yet she remained unmoved." Miss Xiang casts a reproachful glance at Xiang Yu, then turns her gaze warmly towards Wang Yu, saying, "Please, do not stand on ceremony with your aunt. Consider this a small token of affection from an elder to a younger." She then instructs the butler to fetch 2 boxes of tea from the storeroom and to prepare an exquisite gift box. The butler nods and departs to fulfill her request. Xiang Zhuo casually leans closer, draping his arm around Wang Yu's shoulder. "Just take it. It's not something precious." He then turns to Ms. Xiang, grinning, "Mother, may I also take a couple of cans?" "You?" Ms. Xiang gives him a pointed look. "You suffice with ordinary tea. I cannot bear to see such fine tea wasted." Wang Yu smiles and concedes. "Then I shall graciously accept Ms. Xiang's kind gesture." At that moment, footsteps are heard approaching from outside the villa. Shortly after, an elderly yet remarkably handsome man enters. Despite his age, he stands tall, clad in a sharply tailored suit that accentuates his robust physique. Time has etched its marks upon his face, yet it does not diminish the sharpness and authority reflected in his gaze. "Apologies for the delay. Company matters took longer than anticipated," he announces in a deep, resonant voice, imbued with the weight of experience. His gaze sweeps over the room, finally settling on Wang Yu, a hint of warmth flickering in his eyes. "You must be Wang Yu. Truly, a hero emerges from youth. Mr. Xiang, I have long admired your reputation. It is an honor to meet you today. Wang Yu responds promptly, rising to his feet. Xiang Huaqiang strides forward, grasping Wang Yu's hand firmly. No need for formality. You are of similar age to Xiang Zhua and his friends. Simply call me Uncle Xiang. Then I shall address you as Uncle Xiang. Wang Yu replies with a smile. Indeed, this young man is exceptionally handsome. Xiang Huaqiang appraised Wang Yu with admiration in his eyes. Having traversed the entertainment realm for many years, he had never encountered a male as striking as Wang Yu. With his barefaced visage, Wang Yu effortlessly overshadowed all male celebrities within the industry. One could scarcely fathom how captivating he would appear with even the slightest touch of makeup. He would undoubtedly enchant countless young women. Releasing Wang Yu's hand, Xiang Huaqiang patted him on the shoulder, scrutinizing him from head to toe. Wang Yu, somewhat bewildered, glanced at his attire, finding no fault. Why are you staring at me like that? Young man, with such good looks, have you ever considered stepping into the entertainment industry to become a star? Xiang Huaqiang suddenly raised an eyebrow and chuckled. Before Wang Yu could respond, he seized his arm and briskly led him to the leather sofa. Look at the Hong Kong film industry. Many superstars began as blank slates. With your physical attributes, combined with my abundant resources, I could transform you into the most dazzling star in the world. Xiang Tai approached with a freshly brewed cup of tea, playfully chiding, Darling, Wang Yu's aspirations do not lie within the entertainment industry. Do not frighten him. Xiang Huaqiang waved his hand dismissively. His eyes ignited with the excitement reminiscent of his earlier days discovering new talent. You don't understand. After decades of navigating the film set, I can easily discern that Wang Yu possesses the aura of a star. What male celebrity can rival his charm and demeanor? My father is indeed serious about work. Wang Yu interjected, but if you truly wish to enter the industry, you would be Zhou Xingqi's junior. Zhou Xingqi and Liu Dehua were both launched to fame through my father's efforts, and he invested considerable energy in their careers. If you are genuinely interested, our company's team and resources are at your disposal at any time. Wang Yu chuckled softly, speaking leisurely. Uncle Xiang, let's not pursue that line of conversation. I'm not particularly interested in becoming a star. Noticing a hint of discomfort on Wang Yu's face, Xiang Tai quickly stepped between them, linking her arm with Xiang Huaqiang's. Darling, do not focus solely on work. Wang Yu is yet to rest properly. Look at me. I cannot seem to stop once I start discussing work. I completely forgot to attend to our guest. She turned to Wang Yu, her eyes filled with sincerity. I apologize. Uncle Xiang was just overly excited earlier. Uncle Xiang, you are too kind. Wang Yu quickly replied with a smile. At that moment, Xiang Tai smiled at Wang Yu and said, All right, let's not dwell on such mundane topics any longer. Dinner is served. Today, I specifically asked the chef to prepare several Hong Kong delicacies for you to savor. Invited by Xiang Tai, Wang Yu made his way to the dining area, where an enticing aroma enveloped him. The table was lavishly adorned with an array of sumptuous dishes: typhoon shelter crab, baked abalone with runny yolk, glazed lobster, honey glazed char siu, and bird's nest porridge. Xiang Tai guided Wang Yu to the seat of honor. She picked up a silver serving chopstick and directly placed a runny yolk abalone into Wang Yu's bowl, saying, This baked abalone is made under my careful supervision, utilizing fish maw, old hen, and Jinhua ham to create broth simmered throughout the night. You must give it a try. Before he could even utter a refusal, Xiang Tai had already ladled a spoonful of bird's nest porridge into his bowl. Eat it while it's hot. This porridge is infused with air-freighted lychee honey, which is particularly nourishing. Mother, you are so biased. I didn't receive such treatment on my last birthday, Xiang Yu remarked, stretching his neck to peer longingly at the abalone in Wang Yu's bowl. Xiang Zhua lightly tapped his hand with her chopsticks, signaling him to maintain decorum, while she smiled at Wang Yu, saying, Do try it. My mother's culinary skills have even been honed by Michelin restaurants, and her dishes are truly exceptional. My dear, your cooking hasn't diminished. In fact, it has only improved, Xiang Huaqiang commented after savoring a bite of abalone, the creamy yolk slowly dripping from the corner of his mouth. Nodding in satisfaction, Wang Yu took a bite of the abalone, delighting in its tender, springy texture that melted with the rich sauce on his palate. It was simply exquisite. He quickly gave a thumbs up and mumbled in admiration, Xiang Tai, this is absolutely delicious. I have never tasted such flavorful abalone before. Glad you like it. You must come often. I'll prepare a variety of dishes for you, Xiang Tai replied, her eyes crinkling with delight as she added a piece of honey-glazed char siu to his bowl. She turned to glare at Xiang Zhua, who was still competing with Xiang Yu for the lobster claws. Learn from Wang Yu's manners. Don't act like a starving wolf. With his mouth full of lobster meat, Xiang Zhua mumbled, Mother, Wang Yu is a guest. Of course, he deserves special treatment. Being family, can fend for myself. He was unfazed, unlike Xiang Huaqiang and Xiang Tai, who were tense in Wang Yu's presence. After all, they were all friends, having known each other for quite some time. Xiang Zhu had a fair understanding of Wang Yu's temperament, which was not at all like the ostentatious nature often exhibited by other wealthy heirs. Instead, Wang Yu was quite easygoing. Wang Yu was not one to put on airs, which suited Xiang Zhu's disposition perfectly. Otherwise, they wouldn't have become so close after just 2 meetings. The little chubby Xiang Yu elegantly wiped the corner of his mouth with a napkin, raised his wine glass, and teased, "In my opinion, you don't treat yourself as family, but rather this place as a street stall." Xiang Huaqiang set down his chopsticks and looked at Wang Yu with a smile. "Wang Yu, there are many culinary delights in Hong Kong. Tomorrow, I'll have Xiang Zhu take you to the decades-old Jujik beef brisket in Central. I assure you, the flavor will be unforgettable." Xiang Tai added another scoop of bird's nest porridge to his bowl, playfully chiding, "Dear, let us not just talk about outside food. We haven't showcased our home-cooked specialties yet. For breakfast tomorrow, I'll make Hong Kong-style wonton noodles for you to savor." She then turned to her 2 sons. "If either of you dares to sleep in and miss breakfast tomorrow, don't be envious of Wang Yu. Mother, I will definitely wake up even earlier than a rooster." Xiang Zhu immediately set down his lobster claw and raised both hands in assurance. He then turned to embrace Wang Yu's shoulder. "In the afternoon, I'll take you to Mong Kok. I'll ensure you taste the most authentic delicacies Hong Kong has to offer." "All right," Wang Yu replied, feeling a sense of anticipation. Hong Kong's culinary reputation was well known, yet he had never visited. This opportunity was not to be missed. The meal lasted nearly 2 hours, concluding with Wang Yu feeling particularly satisfied. Under Xiang Zhu's guidance, they went to visit Cheng Long across the villa, but unfortunately, he was not home. A phone call revealed he was out filming and would not be returning for the time being. Wang Yu could not help but feel a tinge of regret. He was aware that the illustrious Cheng Long resided across from him, specifically brought to his attention by Xiang Jia. Cheng Long had been his childhood idol, and he had watched every film directed by Uncle Cheng. He would have to wait for another opportunity to meet him. No witties. Once brother Cheng finishes his work, I shall promptly organize a gathering and invite him over. Xiang Jia responded, unfazed. Cheng Long frequently engaged in activities or film shoots, rarely spending time at home. It was indeed a rare occasion to see him even once a year. Somewhat disappointed, Wang Yu and Xiang Jia returned to the villa to rest. Xiang Huaqiang, due to work commitments, exchanged a few pleasantries with Wang Yu before heading to the office. Xiang Yu also found an excuse to take his leave. As for Xiang Tai, after conversing with him, it was unclear where he had vanished. Not long after, Xiang Jia's sister, Xiang Junling, returned to the villa. She was the daughter of Xiang Huaqiang's first wife, and Xiang Tai treated her with exceptional kindness, regarding her as his own daughter. Xiang Junling was several years older than Xiang Jia, now in her 40s. Though she had gained a bit of weight, she remained charming and delightful, possessing an air of grace and poise. A quintessential career-oriented woman, she was curious about the rumored contemporary heir of the Wang family, and had returned home to witness for herself. Xiang Junling operated her own jewelry business and was the founder of a renowned law firm. Naturally, she had also dabbled in her family's traditional trade, aided significantly by the support of the Xiang family, which had contributed to her remarkable success. Nonetheless, she could be regarded as one of the most capable women Wang Yu had encountered, with a thriving career of her own. Upon meeting Wang Yu, Xiang Junling found herself quite taken with the exceptionally handsome young man. Still a student, he had already embarked on his entrepreneurial journey at such a tender age. Jingtuan Capital had become a formidable giant in the mainland entertainment industry, and aside from the backing of the Wang family, his personal capabilities were indeed formidable. Otherwise, his family would not have entrusted him to commence his career so early. The flourishing success of Jingtuan Capital was a testament to this. Their brief exchange further deepened Xiang Junling's admiration for Wang Yu, her eyes sparkling with appreciation. This young man was simply perfect, possessing a distinguished family background, striking good looks, and yet displaying no arrogance in his demeanor, rather exuding humility. He lacked the common vices often associated with affluent heirs. In contrast, her younger brother Xiang Yu had been spoiled by their mother, often exhibiting arrogance, a type of individual she had always looked down upon. Thus, she held great admiration for Wang Yu. Originally, she had set aside her work temporarily to return home and meet Wang Yu, intending to resume her duties thereafter. But now, she found herself reluctant to leave. Wang Yu's handsome visage was utterly captivating, and spending more time in his presence lifted her spirits. Xiang Jia, however, cast a surprised glance at her sister, It was unusual for her to show interest in conversing with men. It seemed that even the most disdainful of women could not help but be charmed by Wang Yu. His beauty was truly extraordinary. Regrettably, the age disparity between my sister and Wang Yu is quite vast. Otherwise, I would genuinely consider playing matchmaker. Remaining single is hardly a favorable circumstance. Chapter 256. The 8 champions of the first level race. As dusk descended, the vibrant glow of neon lights illuminated the evening. Xiang Zhuo and Xiang Junling accompanied Wang Yu on a culinary expedition. A formidable entourage of bodyguards trailed closely behind, exuding an air of prominence. The streets of Mongkok were bustling with an incessant flow of people, the lively atmosphere enveloped by an array of tantalizing street food that left Wang Yu's mouth watering. The sea breeze from Tsim Sha Sui carried the briny scent of seafood, while the dazzling lights of skyscrapers across the harbor twinkled brilliantly, reflected upon the shimmering surface of the sea. After meandering through Central, Wang Yu had truly grasped the authentic essence of Hong Kong, rendering the journey worthwhile and an eye-opening experience. Once satiated, the trio, upon Xiang Zhuo's suggestion, ventured to one of Hong Kong's most exhilarating locales, the Hong Kong Jockey Club at the Happy Valley Racecourse. This venue epitomizes the stark wealth disparity in Hong Kong and stands as a place where ordinary individuals are most likely to encounter the affluent. Numerous celebrities and tycoons, such as Guo Fuqing and Peng Yuyan, frequent this site for horse racing and betting. Many wealthy residents own their own racehorses, which not only symbolize affluence, but also serve as a prevalent and effective social conduit in Hong Kong society. Each year, countless tourists flock here, making the Hong Kong Jockey Club a quintessential stop on their itineraries. The thrill of horse racing, coupled with the modest expenditure of placing a bet on a favorite horse, generates an exhilarating and immersive experience. However, some individuals find themselves unable to restrain their impulses, engaging in reckless wagering, with many facing ruin due to their gambling habits. Numerous legendary tales have unfolded here. A standout horse achieving remarkable results can elevate its owner to immense wealth, yielding billions. There are accounts of single bets winning astronomical sums, such as 11.8 billion Hong Kong dollars. Each day at the racecourse births countless tales of sudden wealth, with some ascending to the ranks of the affluent, while others gamble away their fortunes, becoming the subject of ridicule. The Happy Valley Racecourse accommodates over 50,000 spectators, with a first-floor seating designated for the general public, while those with passes from the mainland can enter free of charge. With Xiang Zhuo and Xiang Junling present, there was evidently no need to purchase tickets. The three were respectfully escorted by the manager of the Jockey Club to a private box on the top floor. Manager Li bowed as he opened the intricately carved wooden door, revealing an atmosphere of opulence. Wang Yu gazed ahead at a massive LCD screen, while panoramic floor-to-ceiling windows showcased the verdant racetrack, still vacant at that hour. The audience below was already at full capacity, the venue ablaze with lights. People from various nations filled the stands, a tapestry of skin tones, most of whom had come specifically to witness the world-renowned horse races. Various performances had commenced on site, featuring renowned global bands. An abundance of gourmet food and beer was available. Mr. Xiang, Miss Xiang, we appreciate your support for the Jockey Club. This box offers the finest view, and knowing of your attendance, we reserved it especially for you. After Manager Li observed that the three individuals had settled in, he began the introductions as a server brought in champagne and an array of exquisite fruits. He scrutinized the young, handsome man seated beside Xiang Jia, noting that, as a manager of the Hong Kong Jockey Club's Happy Valley Racecourse, he possessed a fair understanding of the affluent second-generation elites from both Hong Kong and the mainland. However, this particular gentleman was evidently not familiar to him. The unintentional glimmer of respect in Xiang Jia's gaze towards him was rather unusual, leaving Manager Li somewhat perplexed. The Xiang family was undoubtedly a prominent dynasty in Hong Kong. Thus, to command such reverence, this man must possess a remarkable background. Nonetheless, he discerned that providing excellent service to Wang Yu was undoubtedly a prudent course of action. With this thought in mind, Manager Li's gaze towards Wang Yu grew increasingly respectful. How was tonight's event? Xiang Jia casually leaned against the observation platform, inquiring. You have arrived at the perfect moment. Tonight features a golden event with 8 champions of Grade 1 racing competing. I assure you, it will not disappoint, Manager Li replied, slightly bowing as he presented the event brochure with a beaming smile. Xiang Junling traced her fingers along the champagne flute, her eyes flitting over the event brochure presented by Manager Li. I have heard that the Jade Lightning has been in poor form recently. causing its odds to drop. Miss Young, you are quite well informed. It is said that Jade Lightning has been under the weather lately. However, it is receiving diligent treatment, and the owner has invested significantly in hiring a top-tier trainer who has been working the horse extra hard just yesterday. Manager Lee responded with a smile. Wang Yu perused the event brochure with keen interest, having long heard of the Hong Kong Jockey Club's esteemed reputation. The atmosphere at the venue was particularly vibrant, charged with a palpable excitement. After familiarizing himself with the details in the brochure, he turned to Manager Lee and asked, "May I place a bet now?" "Sir, you may not be aware, but typically, horses will parade around the track prior to the race, allowing spectators to assess their condition. I kindly suggest you wait a moment before placing your wager," Manager Lee respectfully advised. Xiang Jia gazed at the screen displaying the horses' profiles. Pointing at a white horse as she addressed Wang Yu, "You absolutely must not bet on Jade Lightning tonight. Otherwise, it will certainly lead to substantial losses." "Oh, do you have quite the understanding of this?" Wang Yu inquired with curiosity. Xiang Jia shook her head, stating, "I wouldn't say I know much. But my father and brother are avid participants in this realm, and our family owns a few racehorses. I have merely absorbed knowledge by being around them since childhood." Pausing, her gaze fell upon the data page for Jade Lightning. Scrutinizing the training statistics, she remarked, "Look at its performance in the last 3 races. They have been rather poor, clearly indicating its lack of fitness. We should definitely steer clear." She then turned to Xiang Junling, asking, "Sister, don't you enjoy betting on horses? Am I analyzing this correctly?" Xiang Junling gently swirled her champagne flute, observing the lively scene outside. She glanced at her brother, a subtle smile playing at the corners of her lips. "Your analysis is indeed quite astute. However, the racecourse is fraught with variables. Perhaps tonight, it could very well emerge victorious." She extended her finger, pointing at a jet black horse on the screen, exclaiming, "I have a good feeling about this steed of the Gale. Its recent performance in competitions has been remarkably stable. Backing it is surely a safe bet." Manager Lee, witnessing this, smiled and remarked, "I shall take my leave then. Should you require anything, do not hesitate to call for me." Xiang Jia nodded, lifting a glass of champagne to sip. Wang Yu gazed at the introductions of the racehorses on the screen, his eyes gleaming with excitement. There were a total of 8 races scheduled for the evening, featuring dozens of competing horses. The 8 champions of the top-tier races were Blazing Wind, Steed of the Gale, Sovereign, Emerald Lightning, Winged Fury, Fiery Stallion, Gale Chaser, and Dawnbreaker. Each of these horses exuded an air of elegance, their manes meticulously groomed and flowing backward, every strand dancing in the breeze. Their muscular outlines rose and fell with each breath, showcasing the beauty of strength and the aura of champions. At that moment, a sudden cheer erupted from outside, causing the crowd to scream with excitement. Wang Yu instinctively glanced outside. As the wave of cheers surged forth, the distant gates slowly lifted, and staff members led the racehorses onto the field. In an instant, the audience erupted into ecstatic shouts. A chestnut horse in front became startled, refusing to move forward despite the staff's efforts to coax it. A few young people nearby let out bizarre cries, startling the chestnut horse further, causing it to rear up and nearly topple the staff, eliciting a burst of laughter from the stands. Just then, a commotion erupted at the entrance, instantly capturing the attention of the entire venue. It was Guo Fuqing and his wife. How handsome! Oh my, Guo Tianwang is truly 100 times more charming in person. Even at this age, he remains remarkably good-looking. His wife is stunningly beautiful as well. Her poise is simply exquisite, truly worthy of being the wife of a king. I heard that Guo Tianwang also raises horses for competition. Could he be here to place bets? Let's see which horse he chooses. Following the king's lead is surely a wise decision. Wow, his wife's handbag must be a limited edition. Just look at the price tag on that outfit. A group of young women squealed with excitement as the crowd gathered around, whipping out their phones to capture photos of Guo Fuqing and his wife Fang Yuan. Guo Fuqing smiled and waved to the surrounding fans, exuding star quality with every gesture. Fang Yuan gracefully linked her arm with her husband's, a charming smile gracing her face. Immediately, security personnel converged, forming a barrier to prevent overly enthusiastic fans from getting too close. "Mr. Guo, Mrs. Guo, this way please." Manager Lee appeared at the entrance, his face adorned with an ingratiating smile, respectfully guiding the couple toward the VIP area. As they passed by the stands, numerous spectators stood on tiptoe, straining their necks to catch a glimpse, elevating the atmosphere to new heights. Wang Yu also noticed Guo Fuqing's arrival and turned to look. Though the distance was considerable, Wang Yu's vision surpassed that of the average person. allowing him to see Guo Fuqing's features with crystal clarity. Indeed, this place is renowned as the most accessible for encountering the affluent and celebrities in Hong Kong. Upon my arrival, I unexpectedly came across the illustrious Guo Fuqing. Approaching his 60s, he still possesses an air of youthful vigor. Standing alongside his wife, they appear remarkably well-matched. He is indeed the renowned King of Heaven, and it is typical to spot him at nearly every race, as he possesses a profound fondness for horse racing. I decided to give him a call to invite him over. Xiang Zhao, following Wang Yu's gaze, spoke up. He retrieved his phone and dialed a number, which was answered almost instantaneously. The cheerful laughter of Guo Fuqing resonated from the other end. Xiang Zhao, what a surprise to receive your call today. I'm in the private box of the racecourse, hosting a friend. With a playful raise of his brow, Xiang Zhao replied, the private box is stocked with fine wine. Would you care to grace us with your presence? If you have a friend, I shall come over immediately. Guo Fuqing responded with a hearty laugh. After concluding the call, it was too long before there was a knock at the door of the box. Guo Fuqing entered, hand in hand with his wife. Clad in a perfectly tailored suit and polished leather shoes, his every gesture exuded the charisma of a star. It has been a while. Who is this? Guo Fuqing inquired, glancing at Xiang Zhao before turning his attention to Wang Yu, his eyes shimmering with intrigue. His wife, Fang Yuan, also regarded Wang Yu with curiosity. Who is this dashing young man? His attire suggests he is no ordinary individual. It is well known that the Hong Kong Jockey Club enforces strict dress codes. One cannot enter improperly attired, and even those who dare to do so are often asked to change. The club has long served as a social venue for the elite of Hong Kong, frequented by individuals of notable status, with stringent expectations regarding members' attire. On one occasion, her husband forgot to don formal attire and was required to return home to change, while Xiang Zhao's somewhat disheveled appearance could be overlooked due to his esteemed lineage. Even the proprietor of the racecourse would hesitate to impose too much. Only those of true aristocracy possess the privilege to dress casually here. However, Wang Yu's attire was exceedingly relaxed. His casual ensemble was complemented by a rather expensive Vacheron Constantin watch, suggesting that his background was indeed extraordinary. Now, in the company of the Xiang siblings, could he possibly be a scion from the mainland? Brother Guo, this is my friend Wang Yu, who is no ordinary person, Xiang Zhao remarked, rising with a cheerful demeanor to introduce Wang Yu. This is the illustrious Guo Fuqing, the King of Heaven, whom I believe you are familiar with. You may simply address him as Brother Guo. Greetings, Brother Guo. I am Wang Yu. It is an immense honor to encounter you here today. Wang Yu promptly stood and greeted him with a smile. He is indeed one of the four heavenly kings, a figure of great renown on the mainland. Universally recognized as a superstar, particularly prominent 2 decades ago. In his previous life, his father, Wang Zhengwo, was utterly captivated by these celebrities from Hong Kong, idolizing the likes of Guo Fuqing and Zhou Ruanfa. Much like any typical middle-aged man, one wonders if this life will unfold differently. Observing Wang Zhengwo's pretentious demeanor, one might surmise that he no longer harbors such sentiments towards these celebrities. Perhaps during the next visit home, I could inquire with Xiang's acquaintances, who are indeed my friends. Just refer to me as Brother Guo, and we shall be in jest together, haha. Guo Fuqing, with a gentle smile, extended his hand to shake Wang Yu's, his tone warm and inviting. Internally, he pondered Xiang's words. If even he remarked on the difference. What sort of scion from a noble family could this be? Beside him, his wife offered a delicate smile, nodding gracefully. I am his wife, Fang Yuan, and it is a pleasure to meet you. I have long heard of Brother Guo's fervent passion for horse racing, attending every event at the racetrack. Today's encounter truly lives up to the reputation. Since we have crossed paths, let's enjoy the company. It will surely be more lively. Xiang Junling set down her champagne flute, her eyes sparkling with mirth. Which horse does Brother Guo favor today? Might you share your insights with us? Why not? Let us partake together. Your box offers a splendid view. Guo Fuqing replied with a hearty laugh, pulling over a leather chair to seat himself. It seems the young lady from the Xiang family is trying to extract information from me. However, I must confess, I believe the Red Flame Warhorse is in excellent form today. As he spoke, he gestured towards a magnificent stallion with a coat as red as blood. Standing proudly in the center of the track, observe its raised head, steady and powerful strides, and eyes that gleam with determination. Such a presence certainly marks it as a favorite for victory. When horse racing was mentioned, a fervor ignited in Guo Fuqing's eyes. His adoration for the sport was profound. Since entering middle age, aside from his business affairs, horse racing consumed his every thought. He was well-versed in training and caring for horses, annually investing in top trainers to hone the skills of his steeds and seeking advice on horsemanship techniques. His love for horses ran deep. Naturally, he was also adept at betting, for one must be knowledgeable and familiar with the sport to emerge victorious consistently. Otherwise, losing millions in a single night would not be unusual. Guo Fuqing meticulously observed the mental states of the competing horses, and then smiled at the group. Merely watching can be rather dull. Why not place a bet? A little wager adds to the enjoyment. At that moment, a nearby attendant presented a tablet, featuring their company's betting platform. Guo Fuqing accepted the tablet, scrutinizing the horses available for betting in the first race. His gaze gradually settling on the striking blood-red stallion. After a moment of contemplation, he clicked to place his bet. For this first race, I am wagering on the Red Flame Warhorse to win 50,000 Hong Kong dollars. After completing his wager, he set the tablet aside and casually glanced at Wang Yu. This young man, exuding an air of nobility, wondering which horse he would choose to bet on. Xiang Zhuo perused the information on the tablet, gently stroking his chin as he surveyed the horses leisurely grazing on the track, taking careful note. His gaze ultimately landed on a silver stallion. The dazzling lights of the venue illuminated its powerful back, casting a silvery glow, reminiscent of a steed belonging to the moon goddess. What a magnificent horse! I shall place my bet on this one, Xiang Zhuo declared decisively, opting for the same amount of 50,000 Hong Kong dollars. His wagering was swift and resolute. However, for the sake of caution, I am only betting on the top 3 positions, with odds of 6-1. As long as this horse finishes within the top 3, I shall reap a profit. This horse's lineage is reputed to trace back to the royal stables of England, although it has yet to clinch a first-level championship. Its meticulously groomed mane suggests it has been well cared for. Its muscular physique resembles a taut bowstring, and its eyes are filled with an eager spirit, showing no signs of fear despite the cheers of the audience. Truly a born champion. Although this horse has not yet achieved notable results on the racetrack, it undoubtedly possesses exceptional qualities, and perhaps it will perform admirably in this race. Xiang Junling swirled her champagne glass and stole a glance at the horse, speaking in a nonchalant tone. "Oh, Miss Yang seems quite knowledgeable about horse racing," Guo Fuqing remarked, somewhat surprised. He was not particularly familiar with Xiang Junling, having only known her brother well, as he had been an employee under Xiang Huachan's company in earlier years. Their encounters had been few and far between, so he was taken aback by her understanding of horse racing, a sport not typically favored by women. Xiang Zhuo, overhearing, shrugged and said, "Brother Guo, you might not know this, but my sister has quite a bit of insight into horse racing. Since she has confidence in this horse, I'm bound to win." Wang Yu nodded and smiled, asking, "So, is Sister Junling also preparing to bet on this horse?" "No," Xiang Junling replied, shaking her head as she pointed to the fiery steed. "That horse is a champion of first-level races, and Brother Guo has far more experience and knowledge of horses than I do. Naturally, I shall bet on the fiery steed. Even though the odds are only 3-1, it is a safer choice." With a playful smile, she picked up her tablet and placed a wager of 200,000. Xiang Junling had her own analysis regarding horse racing, but she did not intend to flaunt it before Guo Fuqing. Following his lead in betting seemed the wisest course. Wang Yu was momentarily taken aback, surprised that despite Xiang Junling's articulate analysis of this horse, she still chose to bet on the fiery steed, which clearly defied his expectations. He had assumed she possessed a deep understanding of the sport. Guo Fuqing, also astonished, then looked at her with a glimmer of admiration. Taking a sip from his glass, he remarked, "A wise decision. Your judgment is indeed sharp. This race will surely see the fiery steed take first place." "Wait, sister, how can you do this? You spoke so confidently earlier, only to turn around and bet on another horse," Xiang Zhuo exclaimed, his eyes wide with disbelief. "Just wait and see. Perhaps the horse I've chosen will emerge as the dark horse." Ignoring Xiang Zui's antics, Xiang Junling elegantly turned towards Wang Yu and inquired, "Wang Yu, have you decided on a horse to bet on?" Wang Yu surveyed the horses on the track, activating his true vision, his gaze sweeping across the racetrack until it settled on the fiery steed. Instantly, a virtual panel materialized before him. Name, Crimson Flame Warhorse. Age, 9 years. Bloodline, thoroughbred. Strength, 89. Stamina, 82. Wang Yu was somewhat taken aback. This horse, reputed to be a champion of Grade 1 races, appeared to be somewhat amiss. The statistics certainly did not seem favorable. "System, what is the maximum value for this racehorse's data?" Ding. After a reasonable calculation by the system, the maximum values for the racehorse's attributes are 100 points, equivalent to those of a human. For the convenience of the host's review, Wang Yu immediately understood that the Crimson Flame Warhorse evidently had some underlying health issues. Otherwise, the figures could not be so low. He furrowed his brow and inquired of the others, "What is the typical lifespan of a racehorse?" "Generally, racehorses can live between 20 to 30 years," replied Xiang Junling after a moment of contemplation. "However, their physical condition typically peaks between the ages of 5 and 10. Beyond this period, their attributes gradually decline. Many racehorses retire from racing around the ages of 10 to 15, as their bodily functions deteriorate with age, increasing the risk of injury and diminishing their competitive abilities. This is not merely aging," he continued. "Given these low statistics, it suggests some undisclosed ailment. This Crimson Flame Warhorse is evidently not a viable candidate for betting." Wang Yu then shifted his gaze to the horse Xiang Jia was considering for betting. Name: Moonchaser. Age: 6 years. Bloodline: thoroughbred. Strength: 91. Stamina: 88. Wang Yu's eyes gleamed upon noticing that the silver-coated Moonchaser boasted impressive statistics. It was already the best among the contenders in this race. Xiang Jia was indeed fortunate. A casual wager had led him to a promising prospect. Without further hesitation, he turned to the attendant beside him and asked, "Is it possible to place a bet using Chinese currency?" The attendant appeared somewhat troubled and replied, "Sir, our racecourse generally only accepts Hong Kong dollars for betting. We do not accept other currencies." Xiang Jia interjected, "Please consult your manager. He will know how to accommodate our esteemed guest from the Xiang family." He did not wish to burden the young attendant, as these regulations were beyond her control. The racecourse had always upheld such rules, permitting only Hong Kong dollars for transactions. However, these regulations were merely constraints imposed on the less affluent. For the wealthy, such bureaucratic intricacies were easily circumvented. Rules existed only to be broken. Chapter 259. Truly astonishing. Very well, Mr. Xiang. The attendant bestowed a grateful glance upon Xiang Jia, nodded, and departed. Before long, Manager Li entered the room. "My apologies for the oversight," he said with a broad smile, slightly bowing. "Since Mr. Wang is a distinguished guest of the Xiang family, he shall naturally be treated as a VIP at our racecourse. I have already sought approval from above, and you may place your bets using Chinese currency." Wang Yu nodded, unperturbed by the outcome. With this relationship in place, it spared him considerable trouble, eliminating the need for tedious currency exchanges. He picked up his tablet and swiftly navigated the screen, unhesitatingly wagering 1 million Huaxia coins on the horse Chasing Moon. Furthermore, it was a straight win bet. The odds for a straight win on Chasing Moon were 1 to 12, meaning if the horse clinched first place, he would net a profit of 12 million. It was a guaranteed win. Wang Yu had meticulously reviewed the data on these races and selected the finest horse. Ding! The system has detected a consumption of 1 million. Double cashback of 2 million granted. Ding! Congratulations, the host has earned 100 system points. "Ah, Wang Yu, your audacity is impressive." Xiang Zhua, observing the wager amount, widened his eyes in astonishment. He clapped Wang Yu on the shoulder and laughed. "Betting on the same horse as me, you have good taste, truly worthy of being my good brother. I also have high hopes for this horse." Wang Yu smiled faintly. With the eye of truth at his disposal, betting on horses posed no challenge for him. The odds were exceedingly high, with none falling below 2 times the stake. It was akin to filling a sack with money. This was far more efficient than his double cashback feature. How splendid! Regrettably, small sums no longer appealed to him, and larger bets posed their own risks. If he were to wager 1 billion Huaxia coins and win, the payout would exceed 100 billion, likely leading to the collapse of a racing association due to a ruptured cash flow. One must leave a margin in life. As there was no need to push matters to an extreme, he harbored no grudges against the racing association. Guo Fuqing furrowed his brow, his gaze oscillating between Chasing Moon and the Red Flame steed, his expression somewhat conflicted. As a seasoned horse racing expert, he had spent years betting at the racetracks and instinctively felt that a horse with no prior achievements in major competitions was not a wise choice. Yet he hesitated to voice his objections, fearing it would embarrass Wang Yu. After much contemplation, he finally spoke up. "Young man, while it is commendable to be bold in gambling, the prowess of the Red Flame steed is evident. As a horse that has secured a championship in a first-tier race, its chances of winning in such a competition are substantial." Before Guo Fuqing could finish, he was interrupted by Xiang Junling. "Brother Guo, there are many variables in the racing arena. Since Wang Yu has bet on Chasing Moon, it is clear he possesses some confidence. Perhaps this time, he and Xiang Zhua might just find a hidden opportunity," Xiang Junling remarked, observing the bustling scene below with a nonchalant smile. "Indeed, my luck is always splendid. Chasing Moon will not disappoint us," Xiang Zhua affirmed, brimming with confidence in the handsome horse. Historically, there have been instances where champion horses faltered, and such occurrences were not uncommon. The unpredictable nature of the racetrack could lead to various situations. Perhaps the noise from outside was too loud, or the horse had a poor night's sleep, or was dissatisfied with the morning feed, resulting in an upset stomach. A simple bad mood could also contribute to unexpected outcomes. Countless scenarios were possible. The physical or psychological condition of racehorses significantly impacts their performance. At such times, a dark horse may emerge, seizing a victory that seemingly does not belong to it. The television broadcasts a reminder to the audience, indicating that there are merely 10 minutes remaining for preparation before the race. The horses previously on the track are now led back by the staff, and an air of tranquility envelopes the arena. Spectators return to their seats, their gazes fixed upon the horses as they prepare. Wang Yu observes the figure of Chasing Moon, admiring its graceful stature, proud neighs, and the way it paws the ground with its forelegs, feeling increasingly resolute. This spirit, combined with its physical prowess, renders defeat in this race improbable. Mr. Wang, I trust you will see more clearly with this. Manager Li respectfully offers a specialized viewing telescope, wearing a smile. He then quietly instructs a staff member before departing. Wang Yu places the telescope aside as the seconds tick by, intensifying the palpable tension in the air. The earlier performances have concluded, leaving an unusual stillness. Spectators near the track, unable to contain their excitement, rise to their feet, eyes locked on the racing strip. Staff members diligently finalize preparations, meticulously checking every detail. At this moment, the competing horses, under the guidance of professional jockeys, return to the starting gates, their muscles taut, hooves digging into the ground, emitting a chorus of whinnies. A total of 14 horses are set to compete, each robust and well-conditioned, with the most striking being the Crimson Flame Steed. This horse garners the most bets, exuding the arrogance befitting a champion. Its gaze sweeps across the surroundings, radiating an aura of invincibility, filled with confidence as it surveys the track ahead. With its head held high and eyes gleaming, its fiery mane glistens under the lights. Shimmering like blood, it anxiously paces, ears flicking in anticipation of the impending race. Take your positions. A staff member bellows, the voice echoing throughout the expansive arena. The jockeys instantly straighten their backs, gripping the reins firmly, their legs clasping the horse's belly, achieving a harmonious connection with their mounts. The arena falls into silence, everyone holding their breath as time seems to freeze, awaiting the race's commencement. Suddenly, with a resounding clap, the gates fly open, unleashing a thunderous roar across the track. In an instant, the sound of pounding hooves reverberates. 13 horses burst forth like arrows from a bow. The rhythm of their hooves is as relentless as a torrential downpour, akin to the urgent beating of war drums, causing the ground to tremble slightly. The spectators, momentarily stunned, erupt into an overwhelming chorus of cheers, the waves of sound crashing over one another, as if to lift the very arena itself. Only those who have experienced this spectacle firsthand can truly comprehend the profound exhilaration it evokes. The sound of hooves, accompanied by the whinnies of racehorses, is utterly intoxicating, igniting a fervor within one's blood. An impulse to charge into battle and achieve glory surges in the heart. For millennia, the sons of Huaxia have braved the world, their fervent spirit never extinguished. This passionate essence is like a genetic code etched into our very veins, uniquely belonging to the men of Huaxia. Wang Yu, who had been seated casually, found his spine straightening at some point, his expression becoming earnest. Throughout history, Huaxia has never feared the chaos of battle. The clang of weapons and the cries of war horses may have been supplanted by modern aircraft and artillery, yet this fervor is deeply inscribed within our blood. As he beheld the thunderous, galloping horses on the racetrack, he saw the riders, their agile forms resembling generals charging into the fray, seamlessly united with their noble steeds. The resounding rhythm of hooves echoed in his ears, sending a shiver down Wang Yu's spine, raising the hairs on his arms. It was truly awe-inspiring. Chapter 260. Charge! 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 Wang Yu finally grasped why Hong Kong, despite its economic prosperity, holds such a fervent passion for horse racing. The excitement was palpable. He watched, exhilarated, as Guofuqing and Xiang Zui cheered loudly, rallying their chosen steeds. His gaze shifted to Chasing Moon, which appeared like a silver lightning bolt racing down the track, each leap seeming to shatter the air, stirring a gust of wind. Chasing Moon's silvery mane danced wildly in the breeze, occasionally letting out a whinny, revealing its intense yearning for victory. Meanwhile, the fiery warhorse surged ahead, leveraging its vast racing experience and exceptional prowess, leaving all others firmly behind. Its striking crimson coat resembled a blazing flame, fiercely illuminating the racetrack. Each stride raised clouds of dust, and in its gallop, it exuded the essence of a champion. Beyond mere description, the audience erupted in fervent cheers for the fiery steed. Go, Red Flame Warhorse. Hold on to my wager. The championship belongs to you. Truly, this horse, having once claimed victory, possessed an unrivaled aura. Stay steady, brother. Although the odds for the Red Flame Warhorse are a bit low, it's a sure bet. The chorus of shouts enveloped the entire racetrack. In the front row of the first-floor spectator area, excited viewers waved their glow sticks. Some even tossed their hats and clothing into the air. The atmosphere was particularly vibrant, especially among the female spectators. In one corner of the stands, a piercing whistle pierced the air as a group of young men in matching attire unfurled a banner depicting the Red Flame Warhorse. Crimson Lightning, unstoppable. Crimson Lightning, invincible. Among the crowd, some were more apprehensive, having placed hefty bets, their tension palpable. A group of scruffy gentlemen, visibly agitated, with veins protruding on their foreheads, shouted fervently, "Charge! Charge! Charge! This is it, life or death." Clearly, they were seasoned gamblers, heavily invested and pinning their hopes on this one decisive moment. The atmosphere of the arena was ignited by their fervent emotions. The very floor beneath them seemed to tremble in response to the thunderous cries. The cacophony of piercing screams filled the air, overwhelming all else. Wang Yu, situated in a private box, felt relatively insulated from the chaos below. As the crowd fervently cheered for the Crimson Flame steed, Wang Yu's gaze, however, remained steadfastly fixed on a silvery figure. As they approached the first bend, the rider leaned low against the horse's back, legs clinging tightly to its flanks. The synergy between horse and rider was seamless. The previously lagging distance began to diminish at a visibly rapid pace. The horse's nostrils flared, exhaling heated breaths with each stride, leaving behind a trail of phantom images in its wake. "Look, chasing the moon is accelerating," exclaimed Xiang Zhu, his excitement palpable. "Sister, Brother Gua, what'd I tell you? Chasing the moon is making a comeback. It's now in 6th place. Who knows? It might even clinch first." The atmosphere in the private box, once charged with excitement, suddenly fell into a hush. Intriguingly, Chasing the Moon was navigating the turn faster than the Crimson Flame steed. Xiang Junling set down her champagne flute, taken aback. She had initially expressed confidence in Wang Yu's wager on this horse, merely in passing, never truly believing it would perform exceptionally. Yet, given Chasing the Moon's current state, a top 3 finish was now within reach. Guo Fuqing, also surprised, furrowed his brow and remarked, "I truly underestimated this horse. Its condition is remarkable." His wife, Mrs. Guo, cast a curious glance at Wang Yu, who appeared unfazed by the unfolding drama, his expression betraying no hint of concern. Why such confidence? Chasing the Moon was increasingly thriving. Its legs moved with astonishing speed, kicking up clouds of dust that trailed behind like a long plume of smoke, the hot breath from its nostrils intensifying, resembling 2 billowing clouds. Gradually, it began to overtake the horses ahead. The once dominant Crimson Flame steed seemed to sense the formidable pressure from behind. Its ears flicked back. Muscles tensed instantaneously, and it surged forward, attempting to widen the gap from Chasing the Moon. The rider's whip cracked sharply against its side, propelling the steed to even greater speeds. At that moment, the atmosphere in the arena reached a fever pitch, the spectators' excitement soaring to unprecedented heights. Those who had once been confident in the Crimson Flame steed's victory now wore expressions of anxiety. They clenched their fists and shouted hoarsely in support of their champion, urging it on. Meanwhile, a small faction of spectators who had wagered on Chasing the Moon were flushed with exhilaration, as if fueled by adrenaline. The grandstand erupted into a cacophony of voices, each infused with various accents, rising and falling in a chorus of encouragement. "Chasing the Moon, charge. Overtake it. Crimson Flame steed. Hold on. You are the champion. You cannot lose to it. Quick, rush it. My entire fortune is riding on you," exclaimed the owner of the fiery steed, his fervent encouragement directed towards the racecourse. The atmosphere within the owner's box was equally tense. The middle-aged man, impeccably dressed in a suit, clenched his fists so tightly that his fingers turned pale. The smile that once adorned his face had vanished, replaced by a furrowed brow and rapid breaths. "Faster! Hurry!" he bellowed towards the track. wishing he could be in a race himself. In contrast, the owner of the horse chasing the moon was a somewhat younger gentleman, leaning forward anxiously against the glass, gripping the railing with white-knuckled hands. Upon witnessing Chasing the Moon surpass yet another competitor, he suddenly spun around and embraced his assistant, exclaiming breathlessly, "We're going to win. We really are." The assistant, equally exhilarated, blushed with excitement. Chasing the Moon surged forward like a silver arrow, its hooves striking the ground with a speed that created the illusion of multiple images for the spectators. As its head drew closer to the fiery steed, the entire arena erupted in a frenzy. The rider of the fiery steed cracked his whip, eliciting a pained whinny from the horse, which propelled it to an even greater velocity. Under the rider's command, Chasing the Moon suddenly surged ahead, its silver form aligning perfectly alongside the fiery steed. In the final 500 meters, time seemed to stretch infinitely. The seasoned champion, the fiery steed, displayed remarkable tenacity, yet Chasing the Moon gradually began to overtake it. The fierce determination burned in the rider's eyes as he abruptly released the reins, wrapping his arms tightly around the horse's neck for one final push. Chapter 261. Not just anyone. The crowd held its breath, only to erupt into a cacophony of cheers moments later. Chasing the Moon crossed the finish line, securing victory by more than a length. Inside and outside the arena, some knelt in despair, while others embraced in jubilation. "Damn it, why didn't T.I. bet more?" The odds were 12-1. One exclaimed, "I wagered 300,000. I've never made so much money in my life." Another lamented, "Weren't you the one who insisted it was a sure win? I mortgaged my house." Some fortunate gamblers who had placed their bets on Chasing the Moon were locked in joyous embraces, with one ecstatic individual tossing his phone into the air, shouting, "Bro, tonight we're heading to the best bar in Hong Kong. It's on me. I'm spent. I can't take it anymore. It's too exhilarating." Meanwhile, in the box where Wang Yu was seated, Xiang Zhuo leaped from the sofa upon witnessing Chasing the Moon clinch victory. "I told you Chasing the Moon would be the dark horse. Did you see that, sister? Ha ha, I'm brilliant." He grabbed Wang Yu in a tight embrace, shaking his shoulders vigorously. "You could trust my judgment for betting. I have an eye for this." Xiang Zhuo was ecstatic, even performing a somersault in place. He then seized a bottle of champagne, spraying it wildly out the window while shouting with delight. In stark contrast, Wang Yu maintained a calm demeanor, showing no change in expression despite his successful bet on Chasing the Moon. Soon, his phone buzzed with a notification of a bank deposit. "The Industrial and Commercial Bank of China has notified you that a sum of 12,000,000 has been credited to your account, bringing your total balance to 49,554. 479,524. Wang Yu glanced at his phone, a charming smile curving his lips. "You're quite the enigma, aren't you? To have predicted that." "The odds of a solo win are rather enticing," Guo Fuqing remarked, eyeing the jubilant crowd within the racetrack as he raised his glass towards Wang Yu. "It was merely luck," Wang Yu replied nonchalantly, taking a sip of his drink while allowing Xiang Zhao to flail about beside him. He continued in a leisurely manner, "I'm not particularly elated over this modest sum." Instead, his gaze shifted towards the horses racing on the field, observing intently. "Luck is indeed a facet of skill. Do not be so modest. For the next race, I shall follow your lead in betting," Xiang Junling said with a playful grin, disregarding Xiang Zhao's antics. Amidst their banter, the loudspeaker on the racetrack suddenly announced the upcoming event. The electronic screen in front of them displayed the details of the participating horses, and the competitors were escorted to the track by the staff. The previously raucous audience settled slightly, initiating a new round of discussions and wagers. "For this race, I suggest you bet on Jinchang 20, Guo Fuqing said, caressing his wine glass as his gaze shifted back to Wang Yu. "I've been keeping an eye on this horse. Its performance data is commendable." Wang Yu squinted, turning his attention to a sleek, jet-black horse on the field. The cold, mechanical notification echoed in his mind, and a pale blue panel materialized before him. Name, Jinchang 20, age, 8 years, breed, Arabian Thoroughbred improved, strength, 95, stamina, 90. His hand holding the glass paused momentarily. Indeed, this horse was impressive. Noticing Wang Yu's fixation on Jinchang 20, Guo Fuqing's eyes sparkled with pride as he spoke. "This horse, Jinchang 20, is quite the pedigree. It has been bred by the Arabian royal family and set a record at the Dubai racetrack last year. Just look at those muscle lines. They're magnificent. The golden ratio of explosive power and stamina, combined with the finest jockey, makes this combination virtually flawless. I can't fathom how it could lose in this race." With that, he swiftly operated his tablet, placing a bet. "I'm wagering 500,000 on a solo win. Do refrain from making erratic bets. My previous success was mere luck. Jin Chong 20 is truly exceptional, he cautioned. Xiang Zhao's eyes sparkled with excitement as he watched Jin Chong 20, clearly impressed. Brother Gua, you truly are an expert. I shall place my bet as well, 1 million Hong Kong dollars. You know, little brother, I see you're not just trusting Brother Gua. You're entirely captivated by the horse's looks when placing your wager, Xiang Junling chuckled, shaking her head. You're focusing solely on aesthetics and not on capability. Nonetheless, I too will place a bet on this horse. I'll wager 500,000. The odds are 3-1, which could yield a modest profit. Upon hearing this, Wang Yu nodded and shifted his attention back to the other horses. Name, Chasing Wind, age, 8 years, bloodline, thoroughbred, strength, 75, stamina, 89, name, Howling Wind, age, 10 years, bloodline, thoroughbred, strength, 90, stamina, 95, name, King of Eagles, age, 6 years, bloodline, British thoroughbred, strength, 92, stamina, 70. Wang Yu surveyed the surroundings and found no worthy horses. Each of their statistics fell significantly short of Golden Gun 20, rendering them incomparable. Subsequently, he hesitated no longer, locating the betting page for Golden Gun 20 on his tablet and placing another wager of 1 million Huaxia coins. With odds of 3-1, it was better than nothing, allowing for some potential profit. Ding! The system has detected the host's expenditure of 1 million, doubling the cashback to 2 million. Ding! Congratulations to the host for acquiring 100 system points. It appears you too recognize this fine steed. Indeed, great minds think alike. Guo Fuqing observed Wang Yu's betting amount, his face displaying both surprise and satisfaction. He clasped Wang Yu's shoulder with a hearty pat, his eyes brimming with mutual admiration. Logically, one would expect a youth of Wang Yu's age to act contrarily in all matters. Had he wagered on another horse, Guo Fuqing would have been entirely unsurprised. However, his choice to bet on Golden Gun 20 alongside him revealed a discerning nature, far from ordinary. Yet, Wang Yu simply smiled faintly, placing the tablet casually on the table. Lifting his glass to take a gentle sip, I am merely following Brother Gua's insight. I possess no understanding of horses whatsoever. His tone remained calm, as if the million wager were but a trivial act. Nevertheless, for the few present in the private box, this million was hardly significant. Observing this, Guo Fuqing grew increasingly proud, tilting his head back to drain his glass. Once the race concludes, I shall host a celebration at a fine restaurant for all. At that moment, the racecourse's announcement echoed once more, signaling that the time for the competition had arrived. Guo Fuqing rose and approached the floor-to-ceiling window, his gaze firmly fixed on Golden Gun 20 on the racetrack. Its entirely black figure, inexplicably named Golden Gun, bore no resemblance to its title. At that moment, it raised its head and neighed, its dark mane billowing in the light, exuding an extraordinary handsomeness. In an instant, as the starting gate lifted, Golden Gun 20 shot forth like an arrow released from a bow, its sleek black form leaving a flowing shadow upon the racetrack. The audience erupted in a deafening roar of cheers. Xiang Zhua, peering through binoculars, observed intently. Brother Gua was right. Golden Gun 20's acceleration left all the other horses behind. Chapter 262. It was indeed a gamble. The race soon concluded with Golden Gun 20, as expected, claiming first place and securing victory. Wang Yu's account was credited with an additional 3 million. The countdown for the third race of the evening began. As per tradition, the participating horses were brought forth to meet the audience, and those wishing to place bets scrutinized the condition of these steeds closely. After the previous 2 races, they approached this wager with heightened caution, realizing that earning this money was not as effortless as they had initially imagined. Despite appearing to be a seasoned contender with a championship title, the racehorse had never faced off against lesser-known competitors. In the subsequent race, having placed his bet on a horse he deemed promising, he found himself perplexed when it did not compete against the veterans of the track. This left him somewhat bewildered regarding his betting strategy. However, Guo Fuqing's tense shoulders finally relaxed. This was indeed the correct approach. Should another horse unexpectedly clinch the championship, it would lead to an awkward situation, especially after he had so fervently touted the merits of Jin Chong Ershi. Any unexpected turn of events would be quite a slap in the face. Fortunately, Guo Fuqing was quite pleased with the outcome, laughing heartily. I told you Jin Chong Ershi wouldn't disappoint. Truly a remarkable horse that has shattered records. He raised his glass and downed its contents, a confident smile re-emerging on his face. For the third race, I recommend betting on the Emperor. The Emperor had triumphed in 9 out of his last 10 races. recently dominating the competition in Singapore with a record-breaking performance. Records indicated that the Emperor's peak sprinting speed reached an astonishing 80 kilometers per hour, with even the most skilled jockeys claiming that riding him felt akin to handling a top-tier supercar. Such an experience was unparalleled in the realm of ordinary racehorses. Guo Fuqing gazed at the pale yellow stallion, his eyes filled with longing. With a passion for horse racing and the ownership of horses himself, he had long coveted the world's finest steeds. However, the price of a champion like the Emperor, rumored to exceed 300 million, was simply exorbitant. With his current financial standing, he could not justify such an extravagant purchase. Nonetheless, he placed a bet of 5 million Hong Kong dollars on this horse, opting for a win bet, albeit with a modest odds of 1.5. Yet, as long as the horse performed consistently, securing first place was a certainty. A low payout was a small price to pay for a safe bet. Xiang Zhua, unable to contain his excitement, eagerly grabbed his tablet and remarked to Guo Fuqing, "What you recommend can't possibly be wrong. I think this horse is exceptional and certainly has the potential to be a champion. I'll wager 3 million. He then turned to Wang Yu, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Wang Yu, what do you think? This horse is indeed impressive. My father even mentioned it during a meal once." Xiang Junling affirmed, "I didn't expect the odds for this event to be as low as 1.5. It's practically a guaranteed profit. For a horse of the Emperor's caliber, odds of 1 would be considered quite favorable." Taking out his tablet, he scrutinized the figures and smiled. As anticipated, the total amount wagered on the Emperor has already reached 800 million Hong Kong dollars, while other horses have only garnered a mere 150 million. "It seems I'm just one of many following the trend, hoping to make a small profit." Guo Fuqing chuckled. However, it's worth noting that there are still many willing to bet on other horses with 150 million in wagers. Among them are tourists who lack insider knowledge and make random bets, or those seeking to hit a dark horse and achieve substantial returns through high odds. Is this situation common? Wang Yu inquired. Indeed, such situations are rather common. Even champion racehorses occasionally make errors, finishing in second or third place, or even at the bottom. Xiang Junling meticulously observed the horses on the track and remarked, "This is precisely why some choose to bet on other horses. The circumstances on the racetrack are ever-changing. After all, horses are not human. Perhaps the temperature tonight is not ideal, or another horse collides with it, which could affect its performance and, consequently, its condition for the evening. Such occurrences abound." Wang Yu nodded thoughtfully, realizing why so many people refrain from wagering on the Emperor. Professional gamblers possess their own channels of information and have specialists analyzing which horse to bet on, having conducted thorough research. However, some individuals simply follow the trend of betting on other horses with higher odds, foolishly hoping to strike it rich overnight. Yet, the racecourse allows these individuals to place their bets without restrictions on the amount, as long as they maintain control and do not tamper with the horses outside the venue. The organizers remain indifferent. They would welcome all of Huagua to come here and wager. As long as there are bets placed, they stand to profit, making it easier than 99.9% of businesses worldwide. Nevertheless, based on the Emperor's past performances, it is a consistent victor, with the likelihood of errors occurring even lower than winning the lottery. Last month in the Singapore race, it surged ahead during the final stretch, leaving the second-place horse 3 lengths behind. Guo Fuqing interjected, shaking his head, clearly skeptical of any unforeseen mishaps. If one were to rely on the Emperor in countering issues, it would be more prudent to anticipate the emergence of an unexpected dark horse instead. Wang Yu, being a novice in this realm, gained some understanding of horse racing through the analyses of Xiang Junling and Guo Fuqing. It appears that the Hong Kong Jockey Club's ability to thrive for so many years while maintaining such fervent popularity is indeed no simple feat. If one were to wager solely based on past performances, it would not guarantee a profit. One could only say that the racetrack is akin to a battlefield, where circumstances can change in an instant, making betting on horse races a gamble, much like at a card table. Subsequently, Wang Yu shifted his gaze toward the horses on the track, activating his true vision. The Emperor indeed boasted an illustrious record. However, Wang Yu preferred to trust his own observations. Soon, the detailed information about the Emperor appeared before him. Name: Emperor. Age: 8 years. Breed: thoroughbred improved breed. Strength: 95. Endurance: 92. Wang Yu's eyes lit up. The Emperor truly lived up to its name. Such statistics were astonishing, with strength and agility both reaching an impressive 95. The endurance, an incredible 92, was simply extraordinary. Among the dozens of horses participating tonight, Wang Yu had never encountered one with such high statistics. Nevertheless, he refrained from placing a bet immediately, opting to examine the remaining horses for a more cautious approach. After a moment of observation, Wang Yu shook his head, realizing there truly were no horses superior to the emperor. Just as he was about to give up, a glimmer of hope appeared before him. A pure black racehorse caught his eye, and the system panel before him displayed the horse's data clearly. Name, Lightning. Age, 6 years. Breed, thoroughbred. Strength, 96. Stamina, 93. Upon seeing these statistics, Wang Yu couldn't help but feel somewhat surprised. This horse's data surpassed that of the champion. Yet, why had it never secured a victory in a Grade 1 race? Logically, at this age, the horse had participated in numerous competitions. If it possessed potential, it should have claimed a championship title. Was there perhaps an underlying issue? Chapter 263. I trust your judgment. Perplexed, Wang Yu picked up the tablet and searched for the horse's information. He discovered that this horse had previously sustained injuries during a race, and its recovery had been subpar. This was its first race post-recovery. A soft chuckle escaped Wang Yu's lips. Without further hesitation, he placed a bet of 10 million RMB, wagering solely on a win. With odds displayed at an astonishing 68-1. This was truly remarkable. Clearly, the official racing committee did not anticipate this horse achieving a commendable performance, as evidenced by the highest odds given. Wang Yu glanced at the betting details. No one had yet placed a bet on this horse, indicating a general lack of faith in it. Xiang Zhuo turned to Wang Yu, surprised by his bet. Why did you choose this horse? Isn't it one that has been injured? Generally, horses that have suffered injuries find it challenging to regain their former capabilities, and achieving a good result becomes exceedingly difficult. Guo Fuqing exclaimed in astonishment. Why did you bet on this horse? Forget it. It's not a significant amount. Consider it just for fun. Madame Guo did not react strongly. She smiled at Wang Yu, saying, since you have placed a bet on Lightning, there must be a reason behind it. I have a good feeling about this horse. It resonates with me. Xiang Zhuo, why not join your brother in this? Wang Yu raised an eyebrow, looking at Xiang Zhuo with a smile. I believe this horse has a strong chance of finishing first. Why not give it a try? Xiang Zhuo gazed at Lightning on the racetrack, a contemplative expression crossing his face. To him, the horse lacked a commendable history and didn't possess striking looks, resembling a mere lump of coal. It exhibited no distinct personality. However, considering Wang Yu's perspective, he decided to place a bet of 1 million HKD, viewing it as a way to hedge against risk. After all, it was merely a million, a trivial sum for him, easily recoverable with a few fewer meals. Then I shall place a bet as well. I trust your judgment. Xiang Junling tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, her eyes crescent-shaped with a warm smile, exuding a gentle charm. She said little else, taking up her tablet. Rather than betting on the initially favored champion, she navigated to Lightning's betting page, placing a wager of 1 million HKD, also on a win. This amount was negligible for the Xiang family, as her own company earned profits exceeding 1 billion HKD annually. Placing a million on Lightning was entirely in deference to Wang Yu. Even if it resulted in a loss, it held little consequence. It was merely a playful endeavor, and the opportunity to foster a closer bond with Wang Yu was invaluable, worth far more than any sum of money. This evening's goal was simply to ensure Wang Yu's enjoyment. All else paled in comparison. To make Wang Yu happy, discreetly manipulating the outcome to favor Lightning was not out of the question. The thought flickered briefly in her mind. However, the official nature of the horse racing event made certain actions impractical. Yet she found herself tempted to experiment. Before long, the horses were led back to prepare for the commencement of the third race. On the electronic screen, Lightning's name stood solitary on the third track, with astonishing odds. Thus far, only Wang Yu, Xiang Zhuo, and Xiang Junling had placed their bets. 2 million Hong Kong dollars and 10 million Chinese yuan were at stake. Should Lightning triumph in this race, Xiang Zhuo and Xiang Junling would stand to gain 68 million Hong Kong dollars, while Wang Yu would reap 680 million Chinese yuan. However, at that moment, Xiang Zhuo and Xiang Junling clearly did not believe Lightning could secure first place. Their gaze fixed instead on the Emperor. They eagerly anticipated witnessing the majestic speed of the Emperor, capable of reaching 80 kilometers per hour on the racetrack. Guo Fuqing and his wife, Fang Yuan, observed the Emperor with palpable tension, their expressions brimming with excitement. 5 million Hong Kong dollars was not a significant amount for them. Their exhilaration stemmed purely from their anticipation of the Emperor's forthcoming performance, eager to see how far ahead he could leave the second place behind. As the gates lifted, the Emperor shot forth like an arrow released from its bow, his golden mane billowing like rays of sunshine. True to his name, he surged ahead, already ahead in front of the other horses. Just as the race appeared devoid of suspense, Lightning suddenly let out a low neigh. The rider flicked the whip, and its previously drooping ears perked up instantly. It arched its back. Beneath its sleek black coat, muscles tensed like a coiled serpent, propelling it forward with the speed of a dark lightning bolt. What astonishing velocity! Guo Fuqing, who had been leisurely sipping wine, now gaped in astonishment. The red wine splashed from his glass, staining his expensive suit, yet he remained oblivious, his eyes locked onto the rapidly charging lightning. The horse's hooves barely grazed the ground, its black mane dancing in the wind. With each powerful stride, it seemed to challenge the earth itself, the sound echoing thunderously. In mere moments, lightning closed the gap with the Emperor, their forms nearly side by side. The rider of the Emperor sensed the looming threat, yanking on the reins and shouting loudly. The Emperor, akin to an enraged beast, emitted a deafening neigh, his golden mane standing on end as he accelerated once more. Yet lightning clung tenaciously to the Emperor's side, the rider's whip falling like rain upon its flanks, propelling it to even greater speeds. The grandstand erupted into a frenzy, the cheers and gasps merging into a cacophony that seemed to shake the very foundations of the racetrack. Guo Fuqing's eyes widened in astonishment, nearly bulging from their sockets. Just moments before, he had mocked the horse as a decrepit and ailing steed. Yet now he witnessed lightning, defying all reason, forcing his 5 million Hong Kong dollar bet on the Emperor into utter despair. This was simply absurd. Mrs. Guo instinctively covered her mouth with her hand, unable to fathom the reality before her. It was inconceivable. Her voice was laced with disbelief. How could there possibly be a horse faster than the Emperor at this speed? And it was a sick horse, no less. In stark contrast, Xiang Junling merely leaned forward slightly, her astonishment fixated on the incredible speed of lightning. She instinctively muttered, "It is truly unbelievable." Still reeling from the shock, Xiang's was suddenly sprang up like a firework, grabbing his sister's shoulder and spinning her around thrice. Xiang Junling nearly lost her high-heeled shoes in the process. His laughter revealed a dazzling smile, stretching from ear to ear. "Ha! I told you you had an eye for talent. This is a 58-1 payout." With that, he abruptly released Xiang Junling and struck the railing with fervor. "Emperor, today, my lightning shall ascend to greatness atop you." Ha ha! Overwhelmed with excitement, Xiang's began to twist and dance exaggeratedly, waving his arms wildly in the air to cheer for lightning. Xiang Junling adjusted her attire, covering her face in embarrassment at her brother's antics. This was far too shameful. Chapter 264. Loss is loss. Wang Yu savored a piece of egg tart, relishing its taste. He was not surprised by the outcome. Lightning had extensive racing experience, rivaling that of the Emperor. It was simply that it had previously suffered an injury and had not raced in quite some time, leaving its true capabilities unknown. Now that Lightning had healed and displayed superior statistics compared to the Emperor, anything less than victory would indeed be perplexing. As Lightning surged ahead of the Emperor, the stands erupted with a chorus of curses, mingled with cheers. A middle-aged man in the front row hurled his beer can onto the racetrack, bellowing in fury, "Emperor, what the hell are you doing? I bet 2 million on you. Are you bewitched by lightning?" Nearby, a bespectacled lady, devoid of her usual elegance, joined in with sharp invectives. "You worthless creature, what happened to your promised speed of 80 kilometers per hour? This wretched horse can't even outrun a sickly beast. You might as well eat dirt." Amidst the crowd, a flurry of pushing and shoving erupted. As expected, time sped by. Lightning crossed the finish line first, with the Emperor trailing closely behind, gasping for breath and emitting a reluctant whinny. The rider atop the Emperor, filled with frustration, lashed the reins against its flank. Witnessing this outcome, one individual clutched his betting slip, his face drained of color, trembling uncontrollably. It's over, it's over. I thought I could earn some money, but now I'm left to face the bitter winds of despair." His voice quivered with a hint of tears. A large man nearly broke down in tears before a crowd of tens of thousands. The pain was unbearable. The entire racetrack resembled a cauldron of boiling oil, with spectators flushed and shaking their fists in extreme anger. "Impossible. This is absolutely inconceivable. My 8 million. Let me go. I must confront the organizers about this. There is something amiss with this race. It reeks of foul play, without a doubt. I have mortgaged my house. How am I to survive? That wretched lightning. I curse you." Some had already lost their sanity, with even the most base of creatures beginning to utter curses. The losses were indeed monumental. Wang Yu's account had also received a staggering 680 million Huaxia coins. Wang Yu leisurely finished the last bite of his dessert and dabbed at the corner of his mouth with a napkin. Xiangzhua hurriedly approached Wang Yu, arms wide open, and embraced him without hesitation. Wang Yu, you are truly like a deity of fortune descending to earth. This is a windfall of over 60 million. I can revel for months to come. Wang Yu furrowed his brow, about to push him away, when Xiang's was suddenly dropped to one knee, grasped his hand, and fervently knocked his forehead against it. From today, I, Xiang Zhua, shall be your loyal, whether it's traversing mountains of blades or fording rivers of fire. Your command shall be my unwavering guide. From now on, if you send me west, I shall not dare to chase poultry. If you send me east, I shall not idly linger. Should I dare defy, I will consume 10 pounds of Oreos live on stream, without so much as a blink. Xiang Zhua held Wang Yu's hand, his eyes wide with sincerity. You say you wish to acquire the racetrack. I shall commandeer a bulldozer to flatten the competition overnight. You desire a yacht party. I will commandeer every yacht in Victoria Harbor. If that is insufficient, I shall borrow an aircraft carrier for effect. As he spoke, he leapt up and performed a somersault, disregarding the dust that clung to his clothes, and exclaimed with glee, Henceforth my wallet shall be your wallet. My sports car your sports car, and my women shall remain my own. All my subordinates will heed your command. Should anyone dare utter a word of dissent in your presence, I shall lead my brothers to confront them, forcing them to drink Oreos in the restroom for 3 days and nights. Wang Yu sighed, exasperated by Xiang's antics. Xiang Junling, noticing this, shifted her gaze from her phone, where the recent deposit of over 60 million was displayed, back to Xiang's exaggerated reaction, unperturbed. Having grown accustomed to Xiang's occasional bouts of eccentricity over the years, she found his antics merely a tad more exaggerated than usual. After all, this was a hefty sum of 680 million Hong Kong dollars. With the Xiang family's vast wealth, having such liquidity was no small feat initially. She had only intended to place a casual bet of 1 million out of respect for Wang Yu, thinking that if they lost, it would simply be for fun. Never did she anticipate a win. Who could have guessed that lightning would outpace even the king? The king was known for a maximum sprint speed of 80 kilometers per hour, akin to a horse-shaped automobile, whose consumption of fodder was astonishing. Yet at such speed, Lightning still managed to surpass expectations, defying all anticipation. Just how swift was Lightning? Wang Yu's decision to bet on this horse, wagering a staggering 10 million, ultimately led to a remarkable victory. Guo Fuqing, until this moment, remained in a state of disbelief. His skepticism did not stem from the loss of 5 million. For him, such a sum was trifling. He attended nearly every horse race, especially prestigious events like this one, and losing tens of millions to the racing club each month was hardly uncommon. What astonished him was that Lightning, this horse, seemingly had no chance of securing first place, particularly against a competitor of the caliber of the reigning champion. He recalled Lightning from several years prior, having participated in multiple races with commendable results. However, an unfortunate incident during one race involving a collision with another horse had resulted in severe leg injuries, and he had not seen it on the track for quite some time. Rumor had it that its recovery was far from satisfactory, with rehabilitation progressing sluggishly. Yet, here it was, sprinting with astonishing speed and even surpassing the champion, an undeniable dark horse of the evening. He observed Xiang Zhao and Xiang Junling, who, having heeded Wang Yu's advice, placed a wager of 1 million Hong Kong dollars and reaped a windfall of 68 million. A pang of envy struck him. Had he initially followed Wang Yu's counsel and wagered a few million, he would have struck gold. Madame Guo raised her meticulously drawn eyebrows in curiosity, directing her gaze towards Wang Yu. What led you to favor this ailing horse? Everyone else seems to dismiss it. Do you possess some insider information? Madame Guo, you yist. I have no such insider knowledge, Wang Yu replied with a calm smile. It's merely a matter of instinct. I recalled that Lightning was once a formidable contender. Despite its prior injuries, its innate tenacity remains intact, and it ought to run fiercely. Madame Guo scrutinized Wang Yu with a hint of skepticism, her lips curling into a half-smile. Mr. Wang, your luck seems almost as if the god of wealth is personally feeding you. Her gaze was laden with doubt, as if searching for inconsistencies in his demeanor. After all, who in their right mind would place a bet on a sick horse, let alone wager 10 million? Such a sum was not insignificant. If the bet were to fail, even this seemingly affluent young man would surely feel the sting. Wang Yu, unperturbed, took a sip of champagne before meeting Madame Guo's gaze with unwavering calmness. Madame Guo, you wager quite generously each race. Do you rely on information every time? Besides, if I truly had insider insights, why would I involve the Xiang siblings in this bet? Would it not be more advantageous to keep the benefits to myself? Her momentary silence spoke volumes, as she opened her mouth to retort but found no words, ultimately offering a smile instead. Yet, her eyes remained fixed on Wang Yu, clearly unconvinced of his innocence. Sometimes, when fortune strikes, it cannot be hindered, Wang Yu remarked nonchalantly. I've always had good luck. Wang Xizong often refers to me as the favored child of destiny, and I tend to agree. Otherwise, how could I consistently win my bets? Why not follow my lead and place your bets with me? I have a strong feeling that tonight will yield considerable profits. Guo Fuqing exchanged glances with a few others, scoffing at Wang Yu's assertion of being the favored child of fortune. It seemed like a ploy to deceive children. Nonetheless, one could not deny that Wang Yu indeed possessed remarkable luck. Apart from the second race, he had successfully predicted the outcomes of two others, both featuring unexpected winners. No one could have anticipated these horses to emerge victorious. After thorough analysis, the conclusions were either that Wang Yu had insider information or that his fortune was simply extraordinary. However, the Xiang family, a prominent name in Hong Kong, lacked any insider knowledge from the racecourse. How could this young, wealthy second generation from the mainland possess such insights? It was utterly improbable. Yet in the subsequent races, every horse Wang Yu wagered upon, without fail, claimed the top position. There were underdogs that surprised everyone and seasoned champions that had previously won Grade 1 races. Every horse he backed emerged victorious, leading to an astonishing streak of 7 consecutive wins, amassing a staggering sum of $158 billion from his consistent wager of $40 million. Ding! The system has detected that the host has spent $40 million, doubling the cashback to $80 million. Ding! Congratulations to the host for earning 4,000 system points. Wang Yu's balance soared to an unprecedented 50 billion Huaxia coins. And this was in cash. The gap to surpass the cash king of the capital city was narrowing. Xiang Zhao and Xiang Junling, having followed Wang Yu's betting strategy, also reaped profits of 7 to 800 million Hong Kong dollars each. Xiang Zhao was overjoyed, unable to contain his delight. This was indeed his newly recognized elder brother. And such profits were astounding. Why bother running a company? If funds ran low, they could simply bring their elder brother here. One night would yield what would take years to earn otherwise. Xiang Zhao contemplated embracing this life of ease as the money flowed in too swiftly. Guo Fuqing and his wife stared blankly at the influx of Hong Kong dollars into their accounts, lost in a daze. Initially, they had dismissed Wang Yu's claims of good fortune. Yet, they secretly pondered whether Wang Yu had access to other channels of information, enabling him to know the true conditions of the horses beforehand, or if some underhanded dealings were at play. With a mindset of giving it a try, Guo Fuqing placed a bet of 1 million Hong Kong dollars on a horse he favored after the fourth race commenced. However, once again, it was Wang Yu's selected horse that clinched first place, achieving victory in the end. After this experience, Guo Fuqing no longer hesitated, fully committing to follow Wang Yu's bets in the subsequent races. Ultimately, he amassed over 500 million Hong Kong dollars. Was this the privilege that came with insider knowledge? Guo Fuqing's gaze towards Wang Yu had shifted from casual indifference to intense scrutiny. It was evident that Wang Yu possessed information that eluded them. This could only imply that the forces backing him were formidable and beyond the reach of a once popular star like himself. It was a remarkable stroke of fortune to share a private box with Wang Yu, exchanging laughter and conversation. He was undoubtedly benefiting from the Xiang siblings' connections. His mind raced as he contemplated, gazing at Wang Yu's handsome visage, speculating on the secrets he might hold. The affluent second-generation individuals in Hong Kong are well known to him, yet among them, there is no figure by the name of Wang Yu. Furthermore, it is improbable that he possesses any insider information regarding the Jockey Club. It is essential to recognize that the Jockey Club is an officially sanctioned entity, which from its inception has strictly prohibited any leakage of insider information and illicit transactions. Over the years, no one has ever profited from knowledge unknown to others. Even if some horse owners engage in clandestine dealings, they now find themselves in Stanley Prison, enduring the most arduous of conditions. The prospect of evading sanctions is utterly impossible. The judicial system in Hong Kong truly embodies the rule of law. Guo Fuqing pondered deeply, yet he remained perplexed, his gaze fixed intently on Wang Yu, increasingly sensing something amiss. Eventually, a moment of clarity struck him. "You are Wang Yu," Guo Fuqing exclaimed in astonishment, his reflexive outburst revealing his surprise. Indeed, he is Wang Yu. Had he not introduced himself at the outset? Xiang Zhao erupted into laughter, unable to contain her amusement at Guo Fuqing's delayed realization. Wang Yu has become a widely recognized figure on the mainland, with his interactions alongside Wang Xikong, Qin Fan, and various streamers having familiarized the majority with his identity as a wealthy heir. However, in Hong Kong, Wang Yu's notoriety pales in comparison to that of the local horse racing scene. He is acutely aware of the formidable background that Wang Yu embodies. Undeterred, he decided to follow Wang Yu's lead in placing bets, speculating whether he might possess knowledge that eluded others. His instincts proved correct. Subsequently, he successfully wagered on all the races, amassing considerable wealth. As Guo Fuqing observed Wang Yu's nonchalant demeanor and the seemingly self-evident expressions of Xiang Zhao and her brother, he could not help but chuckle at his own folly. Had he known Wang Yu's identity from the beginning, why would he have bet on any other horse? Given Wang Yu's esteemed background, it would not be surprising for him to be privy to insider information from the Jockey Club, considering he is backed by the formidable Wang family, a colossal entity unmatched by few in the entirety of China. Had he placed his bets alongside Wang Yu earlier, he could have earned billions more. Nevertheless, it is not too late. There remains one final race tonight. And Guo Fuqing feels a surge of excitement at the prospect of wagering several hundred million Hong Kong dollars. Yet he hesitates, not out of doubt in Wang Yu's ability to succeed again, but from concern that placing too large a wager might incite unnecessary complications. Should he indeed profit by tens of billions of Hong Kong dollars, while Wang Yu and Xiang Zhao's family might weather the storm without issue, he would find himself in dire straits. After all, Guo Fuqing is merely a minor celebrity, and has been at that. Even with his own company, which could be considered a capital asset, the foundation is far too precarious to withstand tumult. Thus, he resolves to follow Wang Yu's lead, betting on the same horse, albeit with a slightly lower amount. With his genuine prince at the forefront, even if the Jockey Club's officials were to detect something amiss, they would likely overlook it. Chapter 266. No longer at ease, as the evening descended, the clock struck 10. The towering skyscrapers of the racecourse glimmered with neon lights, bustling with vibrant energy. The final race of the night, the most anticipated event, was about to commence, featuring 8 champion racehorses from the highest tier. Several owners, brimming with confidence in their steeds, had also chosen to participate. The audience engaged in animated conversations, their cheers and shouts of betting intertwining, creating a cacophony reminiscent of a boiling cauldron. Those who had won their bets were elated, their excitement palpable upon their faces. Conversely, the unfortunate gamblers, their eyes bloodshot, sought to reclaim their losses in the upcoming race. Some visibly shaken and disheartened, having already lost significantly, with little hope for redemption. Wang Yu leaned against the plush leather sofa in the private box, his long fingers tracing the armrest as he observed the myriad expressions of the crowd. Guo Fuqing and Xiang Zhao cast glances at Wang Yu, their eyes filled with reverence. In this world, a select few stand atop the pyramid, surveying the masses as one might regard ants. Among them was Wang Yu, not Xiang Zhao or the minor celebrity Guo Fuqing. With knowledge that eluded the majority, he amassed wealth in mere moments, illustrating the stark divide of social strata. This was the very reason why such barriers were so formidable. The Xiang family, though seemingly a distant aspiration for many in Hong Kong, paled in comparison to the true aristocracy that Wang Yu represented. For an ordinary individual, achieving even modest financial goals often remains an elusive dream throughout their lifetime. Occasionally, some chosen ones may succeed in their endeavors, yet it could take them a decade or two to realize such fortunes. The sacrifices made along the way known only to themselves. They must endure the full spectrum of life's trials and tribulations, transforming through their tears into successful figures. In stark contrast, those like Wang Yu, perched at the pinnacle of society, could effortlessly summon unimaginable wealth with a mere flick of a finger. He cast a sidelong glance at his companions, discerning their thoughts, perhaps questioning how he had managed to predict the winning horse. With unwavering confidence, Wang Yu embraced the abilities granted by the system, never concealing his capabilities. With the system's enhancements to his perception, he felt no trepidation of suspicion from others, regardless of the context. Furthermore, the formidable Wang family loomed behind him, ensuring that any of his statements or actions would be attributed to their influence, allowing him to operate without fear of exposing the existence of the system. Guo Fuqing glanced at the horses being paraded on the racetrack before turning to Wang Yu with a sycophantic smile. "Young Master Wang, which horse shall we bet on for the next race? This is the final match of the evening, and all parties are placing their bets, with many favoring the champion horse, leading to a total wager amount of 16 billion Hong Kong dollars. His gaze flitted back and forth on Wang Yu, addressing him as young Master Wang. In front of Wang Yu, he no longer exuded the initial composure, appearing somewhat restrained. Xiangzhu discreetly nudged Guo Fuqing, a playful glint in his eyes. Guo Fuqing's face instantly flushed, and after casting a glare at him, he resumed his eager gaze at Wang Yu. Wang Yu nodded, his attention shifting to the racetrack ahead, preparing to select another horse to bet on, eager to conclude tonight's amusement. For him, the horse race was merely an entertaining diversion, devoid of concern for victory or defeat. At that moment, a sudden commotion erupted outside the private box. The thud of heavy objects hitting the ground and the sharp reprimands of bodyguards resonating clearly. Bang! The door to the box was forcefully swung open, emitting a dull thud. Guo Fuqing's expression transformed, his brow furrowing in anger. How rude of them! However, upon lifting his gaze, he immediately lowered his head. Wang Yu, on the other hand, remained unperturbed, as if the surrounding chaos bore no relevance to him, merely casting a calm glance toward the entrance. At the entrance stood several burly men clad in black, engaged in a confrontation with the bodyguards brought by Lung Feng and Xiangzhu. The two sides exchanged blows. Lung Feng sidestepped an incoming attack, retreating to stand in front of Wang Yu. "Everyone, cease your actions," came a deep voice. The black-clad men instantly halted, stepping aside to create a passage. The bodyguards accompanying Xiangzhu, lacking further instructions, could only watch warily. A young man, tall and imposing, emerged slowly from behind. He was dressed in a deep gray suit, his polished shoes treading upon the scattered debris, each step exuding an intimidating presence. Beneath his suit, his bare chest was exposed, showcasing a well-defined physique. Wang Yu stroked his chin, observing the newcomer. Judging by his accent, he was a Hong Kong local, and since it was his first visit to Hong Kong, he had not offended anyone. Clearly, he was not there to seek out Wang Yu. As their eyes met, Zheng Jigang's lips curled into a smirk. "What brings you here?" Xiangzhu frowned, impatiently retorting, "Can't you see we're having a splendid time? You're such a buzzkill." Zheng Jigang, hand in his pockets, advanced leisurely, treating the situation as though he belonged, and plopped down on the sofa before them. He glanced at Wang Yu's extraordinarily handsome visage, a flicker of jealousy crossing his eyes. Then he chuckled lightly, his open suit revealing the contours of bronze muscles that rose and fell with his breath, hinting at the tattoos adorning his body. "Xiang Shao, your words are quite amusing. As far as I know, you all made quite a fortune tonight, so I thought I'd come for a celebratory drink. Go back where you came from. Can't you see we have esteemed guests here?" Xiangzhu retorted, showing no signs of yielding. He then leaned closer to Wang Yu, whispering a few words. It was at that moment that Wang Yu discerned the true identity of the man before him. The man named Zheng Jigang has always been at odds with Xiang Zhao. Whenever they cross paths, bloodshed ensues, only ceasing when one party suffers a setback. This old rogue has connections in both the legal and illegal realms in Hong Kong. His family operates a jewelry business that commands a significant share of the global market, wielding considerable influence. In Hong Kong Island, they are undoubtedly a family at the pinnacle of the social hierarchy. An esteemed guest? Zheng Jigang scoffed, glancing at Wang Yudao. The Xiang family is truly declining. This pretty boy has the audacity to be considered your esteemed guest. Could this perhaps be the reason for your recent streak of victories? Pray tell, what is your surname, sir? Merely Wang. Wang Yudao replied, a sardonic smile gracing his lips as he regarded the provocateur before him. He was somewhat intrigued by the antics of this heir from a prestigious jewelry family, especially since the evening's competition had grown rather tedious. A diversion could be quite welcome. Ah, the Wang surname? Zheng Jigang appraised him with a disdainful expression. The pretty boy certainly possessed good looks, yet in his memory, such a character had not graced Hong Kong Island. That he could be deemed an esteemed guest was laughable. Guo Fuqing and his wife politely bowed and inquired after the well-being of those present, then retreated to a corner, scarcely daring to breathe, their gazes flitting between the individuals in conversation. The feuds among the elite were not something he could afford to involve himself in. Wang Yudao and Xiang Zhao appeared indifferent, yet he understood the necessity of maintaining the appropriate decorum. Where does this small-time fellow come from, thinking he belongs in this box? Zheng Jigang shook his head, derisively remarking, truly a disgrace to the standards of this place. Before Zheng Jigang could continue, Xiang Zhao seized a bottle from the table and smashed it on the ground. Zheng Jigang, watch your words. Xiang Junling frowned slightly and remarked coolly, at your age, still resorting to such antics? Young Master Wang is not someone you can provoke. If you have any sense, you'd best leave at once. Zheng Jigang chuckled derisively. Provoke? That's an apt choice of words. I'm genuinely terrified. He elongated his syllables in mockery, as his subordinate produced a cigar for him to light. I've heard that in the mainland, it's fashionable to live off a woman. With Mr. Wang's looks, he could certainly save himself a great deal of effort. He cast an odd glance at Xiang Junling and Wang Yudao, which made Xiang Zhao's expression darken as he prepared to retaliate. Just then, Manager Li arrived late. Noting the tension in the room, his expression turning somber. My apologies, young Master Xiang. It seems I failed to manage the situation adequately. One of the staff leaked the betting details. I am truly sorry. Manager Li's face was filled with contrition as he addressed the guests in the box. He then turned to Zheng Jigang, pleading, Young Master Zheng, could you possibly do us a favor for the sake of the racing club? There's so many spectators outside, and it would be detrimental if this were to spread. Fear not, I shall still grant your racing club some consideration, Zheng Jigang replied, flicking the ash from his cigar, the ember landing on Manager Li's polished shoe and scorching a dark mark upon it. Yet, Manager Li dared not express his anger, merely offering a strained smile. He rose slowly, casting a glance at the scene outside the glass curtain wall. But the money you've won tonight, I fear it may not have come by honest means, has it? Suddenly, he grasped Manager Li's tie, pulling him close. I've heard whispers that someone knew the condition of the horses in advance. Old Li, don't you think this constitutes a betting scandal? Young Master Zheng, this is all a misunderstanding. Cold sweat beaded on Manager Li's forehead as he stammered. Our racing association has always rigorously monitored the condition of the horses. Such a scandal would be unimaginable. Rest assured, 1,000 times over. Xiang Zha's expression darkened, ready to retort, but Wang Yu raised a hand to stop him. Wang Yu calmly approached the floor-to-ceiling window, standing beside it. Since you suspect foul play, why not report it to the authorities? Report it? Zheng Jigang smirked, a cruel smile curling his lips as he slowly turned his cigar between his fingers. To know the state of the racehorses beforehand is not something just anyone can achieve, and even if we were to alert the police, it would be futile. The Xiang family cannot manage it, and the Zheng family would find it equally challenging. Such individuals are beyond our reach. Yet he did not believe that anyone in this private box possessed such capabilities. With a sudden kick, he sent Manager Li sprawling aside, the latter landing awkwardly on the floor, his tie askew and looking quite disheveled. The depths of the racing world are profound. I wish not to become entangled in this murky water. He paused deliberately, his gaze sweeping over Xiang Zha. Some may find themselves stripped bare. Wang Yu, hands in his pockets, had his calm profile reflected in the glass wall, the fleeting images of galloping horses starkly contrasting with the tension behind him. So, what does young Master Zheng propose? He slowly turned, revealing the Vacheron Constantine watch on his wrist. Zheng Jigang's pupils constricted at once, dispelling any thoughts of disdain. This timepiece was worth tens of millions. This young man was certainly no ordinary individual. Are you planning to coerce us into relinquishing our money with unfounded accusations? Wang Yu said lightly, that's absurd. I have no intention of meddling in these affairs. However, winning billions of Hong Kong dollars in just 7 races, such an outrageous occurrence, would convince even a 3-year-old that there must be some insider dealings. Zheng Jigang inhaled deeply, exhaling a plume of smoke. Guo Fuqing and his wife huddled in the corner, eager to speak but held back by Fang Yuan's tight grip on his sleeve. Guo Fuqing's expression froze, and he lowered his head, both of them daring not to breathe. Yet Xiang Zha could no longer contain himself, stepping forward in anger. Zheng Jigang, do not slander us. Slander? Ask these bodyguards if they believe there is no scandal lurking beneath the surface. Zheng Jigang suddenly closed the distance, the tattoos beneath his suit shifting with his movements. Do you take me for a fool? The atmosphere in the room became palpably tense. The bodyguards remained impassive, yet their eyes betrayed their true sentiments. To hit the mark on 7 races in one night, they found it hard to believe there was no scandal involved. Such tricks were not surprising among these wealthy heirs. Wang Yu suddenly let out a light laugh, breaking the charged atmosphere. Young Master Zheng, these petty tricks of yours are best reserved for frightening others. Wang Yue smiled and remarked, if you truly possess any evidence that we are privy to information we ought not to know, feel free to report it to the official authorities of the Jockey Club. Raising a ruckus here is not only irksome, but also a sheer waste of breath, don't you think? Zheng Jigang suddenly threw back his head and laughed heartily, his mirth echoing within the private room. The onlookers exchanged bewildered glances, puzzled by his antics. He wiped his face and chuckled, just pulling your leg. Did you genuinely believe I would trust you with such celestial abilities? He casually loosened his collar, revealing a grotesque tattoo on his collarbone. The entire Hong Kong Jockey Club maintains strict confidentiality regarding racing information, and you think you can breach that? It's not that I look down upon you, but you truly lack capability. Zheng Jigang waggled a finger dismissively. If it were that simple, the Jockey Club would be out of business. Anyone could predict the winning horse. And soon enough, they'd be bankrupt. He leisurely circled around Wang Yue, his polished shoes crunching the glass shards underfoot, producing a delicate crackle. It's merely a stroke of luck, having backed a few good horses. Do you really consider yourselves gambling kings? As he spoke, he abruptly halted before Guo Fuqing, leaning in closer, causing the latter's face to pale in fright. Oh, Mr. Guo, why do you still show such respect for the son of your former employer? Truly dedicated. He burst into laughter, then stomped heavily on the coffee table. Let us make a wager. The final race is about to commence. Let us see whose fortune prevails, yours or my discerning eye. The winner takes all. Should you lose, 7/10 of your earnings tonight will come to me, and I shan't make it difficult for you. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the integrity of your limbs. Chapter 268. Are you begging for alms? What nonsense are you spouting? With just a few of you? Xiang Zhao shook his head disdainfully. It's not that I underestimate you, but do you truly believe you can threaten us? Upon hearing this, Zheng Jigang's smile widened. Since I dare to speak thus, I am undoubtedly prepared. The illustrious Xiang Xiao, I do not underestimate you in the least. Outside the Jockey Club, there are already hundreds of my subordinates stationed at various critical points. With a single command, they could appear instantly. Do you think your meager numbers stand a chance? Fool! Xiang Zhao's neck muscles bulged as he seized an ashtray and hurled it at Zheng Jigang's head, only for a burly man in black to intercept it with ease. Zheng Jigang remained unscathed, while the fragments clattered against the wall with a sharp sound. Zheng Jigang, do you presume the Xiang family is to be trifled with? He tore open the buttons of his collar, showcasing his robust physique. I can make a phone call right now. Within 10 minutes, my brothers from Kowloon will arrive. We can settle this with a brawl. Zheng Jigang, however, remained unperturbed, leisurely pulling out his phone and waving it, the screen revealing a string of call logs. Are you intending to call Uncle Chun from Tsim Sha Sui? Or perhaps Uncle Biao from Causeway Bay? Or shall I summon the Double Red Flower Gang for assistance? He elongated his words, a smirk playing on his lips. We haven't seen each other for nearly half a year. I've been treating you with the utmost respect. Unfortunately, your subordinates might be facing a few minor inconveniences. By the time they're free and manage to arrive here, I fear it may be too late. You'll have long been minced into meat paste. Ha ha ha. The bodyguards instinctively tightened their grips on the weapons at their waists. The burly men in black across from them also brandished knives and clubs. The expressions on Guo Fuqing and his wife turned pale. They silently lamented their misfortune at encountering such a formidable adversary that night. Xiang Junling's demeanor shifted to one of seriousness as she sternly addressed Zheng Jigang. Do you understand what you are doing? You are declaring war on the entire Xiang family. And what of it? What can you do to me? Zheng Jigang retorted, taking a long drag from his cigar, the flame illuminating the malice in his eyes. Either you comply and stake everything on this final gamble, or... He abruptly kicked over the coffee table, shards of glass raining down like a storm at Xiang Zhuo's feet. I shall have your fingers severed one by one to feed the dogs. Lung Feng leaned in closer to Wang Yu, whispering, Young master, the situation is dire. Should we call the old master? Not yet, Wang Yu replied, casting a glance at him. It seemed that Lung Feng had been swayed by Wang Jiangwo. The mention of the old master was telling. Wang Jiangwo had indeed infiltrated his inner circle. However, Wang Yu paid it little mind, confident that Wang Jiangwo was already aware of the unfolding situation, perhaps even sending reinforcements their way. Wang Yu lowered his gaze to the chaos strewn across the floor, stepping on a wine bottle that had rolled to his feet. The sharp sound of shattering glass echoed painfully in the silence of the private room. Zhang's gamble was indeed ruthless. As Wang Yu raised his eyes, a chilling smirk graced his lips. If we lose, we can forfeit not just 70% of tonight's earnings, but all of it. He paused, his gaze lingering on the gun handle barely concealed by Zheng Jigang's waist. But should you lose, there must be a price to pay, no? Zheng Jigang burst into laughter, unfazed by the ash that fell upon him. Let you go? Is that the price you deem sincere? After all, with your delicate and handsome visage, what a pity it would be to lose a finger. And once the fight ensues, I cannot guarantee your pretty face will remain unscathed. His eyes narrowed, slithering over Wang Yu like a venomous serpent, the tattoo on his chest appearing more menacing. Zheng Jigang underestimated the stakes of this gamble. Wang Yu maintained a tranquil demeanor, although a flicker of anger danced in his eyes. Even he, with his deep composure, found it challenging to contain his frustration at Zheng Zhigang's arrogance. Letting us go is not a price worth mentioning. He suddenly leaned closer, towering over Zheng Zhigang, his aura pressing down so heavily that it forced Zheng to retreat a step. This hardly compels me to wager with you. Zheng Zhigang, noticing Wang Yu's towering height, felt his expression darken, a cold chuckle escaping his lips. He feigned indifference, waving his hand dismissively. Fine, let me 2 billion Hong Kong dollars. If you lose, I'll transfer the amount on the spot. But you better pray that you win, for I will show no mercy if you do not. 2 billion Hong Kong dollars was an astronomical sum, undoubtedly the largest amount he could mobilize. For him, it would take years to recover from such a loss. If his family found out, life would become unbearable, filled with reprimands. However, he does not believe he will be defeated. Zheng Zhigang is passionately fond of horse racing and betting, and he even maintains a team of analysts solely to maximize his odds during wagers. 20 billion? Wang Yu raised an eyebrow, a mocking smile playing on his lips as he flicked the ash from Zheng Zhigang's shoulder. Is young Master Zheng begging for alms? Suddenly, he leaned close to Zhang's ear, his voice as frigid as ice. If you lose, not only will I demand 20 billion Hong Kong dollars from you, but you shall also kneel before the thousands present and apologize, followed by the self-inflicted amputation of a finger, until I am satisfied. It seems these gamblers rely on you. So audacious. The smile on Zheng Zhigang's face instantly froze, the veins in his neck bulging, his hand gripping the cigar, turning white. He violently shrugged off Wang Yu's hand and took 2 steps back. Don't push your luck. Do you think you can run rampant in Hong Kong just because you are close to the Xiang family? Wang Yu, however, leisurely settled back onto the sofa. What is the matter, young Master Zheng? Are you unable to wager? Zheng Zhigang fixed his gaze upon Wang Yu's nonchalant expression, and after a moment, he suddenly threw his head back and laughed, his laughter laced with chilling malice. Good, good. You're a ruthless one. He abruptly extinguished the cigar against the wall, leaving a dark mark. 20 billion in cash, along with a public apology and a finger. I, Zheng Zhigang, accept. But if you lose... He deliberately elongated the last word, drawing a sleek black pistol from his waist, slowly spinning it before Wang Yu's eyes. Even if you are willing to pay, I shall crush that face of yours into oblivion. And as for your hands, you shall not keep them. I hope young Master Zheng remains so resolute at that time. Wang Yu replied coolly, without a hint of fear, even amused. With the genuine eye present, he felt no apprehension regarding the horse race. Moreover, even if he were to lose, he did not believe Zheng Zhigang would dare to act against him. If a single drop of blood were to spill from Wang Yu tonight, not a soul from the Zheng family would escape. They would all pay the price. At this moment, Xiang Zhao was secretly hiding beside his sister, Xiang Junling, hastily sending messages on his phone, fingers flying across the screen. Clearly, the events of the night could not be resolved amicably. It was not in Zheng Zhigang's character to bow down in defeat, and he firmly believed Wang Yu would emerge victorious. There was no possibility of losing. Even if an unforeseen circumstance arose, he would ensure that Wang Yu remained unharmed. Otherwise, the Xiang family would no longer have a foothold in Hong Kong. It was time for Wang Yu to witness the grandeur of the Kowloon Emperor. Xiang Zhao was not to be underestimated. Chapter 269. No need to leave anything behind, everyone. Please do not be angry. Harmony brings wealth. Manager Li wiped the sweat forming on his forehead, increasingly helpless as he surveyed the scene before him. Despite being the manager of the jockey club, neither Xiang Zhao nor Zheng Zhigang, nor the enigmatic Wang Yu, were individuals he could afford to provoke. He suddenly felt a headache coming on, uncertain how to handle the situation. All he could do was retreat from the private room and report to his superiors, hoping to prevent a potential bloodbath involving hundreds of people, in the presence of tens of thousands, most of whom are tourists from around the globe. If such a scenario were to unfold, it would signify the end of his managerial career. Wang Yu's lips were perpetually curved in a mocking smile, displaying an utter disregard for his own safety. Not to mention Wang Jiangwo's protection. With the Xiang family backing him, he would undoubtedly emerge unscathed. If being the emperor of Kowloon were so effortless, the Xiang family would have been dealt with long ago. Xiang Zhao subtly gestured with his phone towards Wang Yu, signaling him. This further reassured Wang Yu. Tonight's events promised to be intriguing. It remained to be seen whether Zheng Zhigang would concede defeat gracefully after losing. Should he dare to employ tricks, the streets of Hong Kong would run red with blood. The Zheng family would have no need to remain. He glanced at the display screen mounted on the wall. Only 7 minutes remained until the race commenced. It would be prudent to place bets now, lest someone refuse to acknowledge their losses. Very well. I shall observe what extraordinary talents you possess. Zheng Jigang, with an air of calm, gave a sidelong glance at the horses on the track and dialed a video call via Feishin. The connection was established swiftly, and a respectful male voice emerged from the other end. Boss, the data model indicates that horse number 3, Emerald Lightning, has the highest probability of winning. With current odds of 3, 2-1 for a straight win. We recommend placing a bet. Emerald Lightning? Zheng Jigang's gaze shifted towards the horse on the racetrack, stroking his chin thoughtfully. At that moment, Emerald Lightning was pawing the ground, its mane billowing in the night breeze, indeed appearing more formidable than its competitors. However, a burly man in black handed Zheng Jigang a tablet. As he flipped through the information page for Emerald Lightning, his brow gradually furrowed. Its previous race results have not been impressive. What were you thinking in selecting this horse? Boss, this time is different. The analyst on the other end of the video spoke urgently, beads of sweat dotting his forehead. He adjusted his glasses and continued. We have analyzed Emerald Lightning's previous races and determined that it was intentionally underperforming. Our data model, based on its posture and the rider's demeanor, indicates that the jockey was deliberately holding back in prior races. Therefore, you must place a bet on Emerald Lightning. This conclusion is unanimous among us. You had better hope you are not mistaken. Zheng Jigang slammed the tablet onto the sofa, fixing a fierce gaze on the person in the video. If Emerald Lightning fails to win, your entire team, from the chief analyst to the janitor, will find themselves cleaning horse manure at the racetrack. Remember that. The analyst's face turned ashen, sweat cascading down his forehead, yet he replied with conviction, Boss, rest assured. This time, it is absolutely foolproof. We also, Zheng Jigang abruptly ended the video call. He reached for a nearby cigar, taking a deep drag, the smoke billowing from his mouth and enveloping the space in a hazy mist under the lights. Then, he glanced at Wang Yu, who continued to watch the race, and remarked, You are aware that I intend to bet on Emerald Lightning, correct? Let me make it clear. You cannot place the same bet as me. Otherwise, the competition would be rendered meaningless. Do not worry. I have another horse in mind. Wang Yu turned his head away and spoke dismissively. Upon hearing this, Zheng Jigang felt a sense of relief. He picked up the tablet from the sofa, swiftly gliding his fingers across the screen, though a flicker of hesitation crossed his eyes. Ultimately, he found the betting page for the Jade Lightning, wagering $1 million Hong Kong on a single win. He then lifted his gaze, his eyes cold as he looked at Wang Yu, a dark smile forming on his lips. I hope you can still laugh later. Just be wary of the fact that you might not even find a place to cry. Xiang Zhu strode confidently to Wang Yu's side, casting a wary glance at Zheng Jigang in the distance. In a hushed tone, he advised, Are you really not going to bet on Jade Lightning? That fellow's team is no pushover. There might truly be something amiss with this horse. Perhaps you should consider betting on Lightning instead. It has already outpaced the champions. So surpassing Jade Lightning shouldn't pose a problem. Let me take another look. Wang Yu nodded, directing his attention to the distant Jade Lightning. Instantly, its statistics materialized before his eyes. Name, Jade Lightning. Age, 10 years. Bloodline, thoroughbred improved breed. Strength, 94. Stamina, 96. The data of Jade Lightning indeed matched Zheng Jigang's analysis, marking it as a promising contender for victory. Its strength was 2 points less than Lightning, yet its stamina reached an astonishing 96 points. This was quite remarkable. Many racehorses possess rapid sprinting speeds, but lack the endurance necessary to secure victory. However, with a stamina rating of 96, Jade Lightning could maintain a full-speed sprint right from the start. Lightning had slightly greater strength, resulting in a significantly faster sprinting speed. Yet it could not rival Jade Lightning in stamina. Competing for the championship against Jade Lightning posed some risk. Though Wang Yu was unconcerned about the outcome of the race, it did not imply that he would concede easily. He scrutinized Jade Lightning carefully, shaking his head before turning his attention to other horses. Xiang Zhu and Xiang Junling watched Wang Yu with relaxed expressions, eager to see which horse he would ultimately choose. Guo Fuqing and Mrs. Guo, however, were tense, shifting their gazes between Wang Yu and Zheng Jigang. The atmosphere in the venue became increasingly charged. Zheng Jigang cast a sidelong glance at Wang Yu, a mocking smile curling at the corners of his mouth. What's this? Are you feeling timid? There are only 3 minutes left until the betting deadline. You would want to concede so easily, would you? If you're too afraid to place a bet, it'd be best to admit defeat now. I might even spare you a few fingers. He deliberately checked his watch, shaking his head with a grin. Zheng Jigang strode forward, looking down slightly at Wang Yu as he declared, I don't have the patience to wait for you to dawdle. If you lack the courage for even this, don't pretend to be bold here. Be a man and act decisively, lest you become the subject of ridicule. Kill. The burly men behind him understood the cue, stepping forward in unison, their blades glinting ominously under the lights, sending chills down the spine. Time waits for no one. If you continue to hesitate, consider it your defeat. Zheng Jigang crossed his arms, his eyes filled with disdain and provocation. He was entirely confident in this competition. He could hardly believe that this young man from the mainland would consistently enjoy such fortuitous luck. The horse known as Emerald Lightning was meticulously selected by an analyst from his team, having undergone rigorous scientific validation. How could there possibly be a loss? Chapter 270. The right choice. Wang Yu merely cast a fleeting glance at him before redirecting his attention to the other racehorses on the track. After observing several horses, none captured his satisfaction. It was not merely a lack of power or endurance. There was inherent risk in wagering, and victory was never guaranteed. Eventually, Wang Yu's gaze was drawn to a magnificent, pristine white horse. This snow-white steed appeared as if it had emerged from a mists, its mane impeccably groomed and arranged with meticulous care. The flowing white mane danced gracefully in the gentle breeze, reminiscent of cascading moonlight. Not a single blemish marred its coat. The white fur gleamed with a pearlescent luster under the lights, each hair distinctly visible. Its elongated neck arched elegantly, the muscular contours fluid and firm, while its limbs exuded strength and vigor, perfectly proportioned. The horse's amber eyes were deep and bright, radiating an innate pride and vitality, occasionally scanning its surroundings as if to proclaim its regal essence. This horse seemed to possess an innate brilliance, standing out among the other competitors like a crane among chickens, instantly capturing Wang Yu's full attention. This was undoubtedly an extraordinary horse. Once more, he activated his discerning eye to examine the creature, and its data promptly materialized before him. Name: Black Emperor. Age: 5 years. Pedigree: Heko thoroughbred. Strength: 99. Endurance: 99. Wang Yu's heart momentarily paused in astonishment. The statistics of this horse were utterly astounding. Horses typically reach maturity at the age of 5, and this pure white racehorse, named Black Emperor, exhibited an astonishing strength and endurance rating of 99, nearing the absolute maximum. While the Heka breed is not renowned for speed, often overshadowed by specialized speed racing breeds, it offers a balanced amalgamation of both speed and endurance. However, this balance seemed excessive, with both metrics attaining the remarkable score of 99, an outrageous feat. Previous champions had only achieved a strength score of 96 in global competitions, and compared to Black Emperor, they were utterly eclipsed. Most importantly, Black Emperor was only 5 years old, still in its prime, and as it matured, it might very well reach the ultimate limit of 100 in both attributes. Wang Yu regarded the horse with admiration. It was indeed a splendid creature. Had this been ancient times, such a magnificent steed would have undoubtedly been coveted by various factions, and with a worthy owner, could have achieved legendary status akin to the likes of Red Hair or Lun Ma, etching its name into the annals of history. Wang Yu picked up his tablet and located Black Emperor's profile, then turned to the betting page. The odds for a solo win stood at 1 to 88, while placing in the top 30 was 1 to 59. Without hesitation, he wagered 10 million Huaxia coins on a solo win. Ding! The system detected that the host has wagered 10 million, resulting in a double cash return of 20 million. Ding! Congratulations to the host for earning 1,000 system points. Is young Master Wang out of his mind, betting on such a horse? Zheng Jigang approached with a champagne glass in hand, his eyes glancing over Wang Yu's tablet, and he suddenly let out a derisive laugh. He deliberately shook the crystal cup in his hand, laughing heartily. This Black Emperor is merely a new toy for its owner, lacking any formal racing experience. Even the owner dared not place a bet on it. How could you be so foolish? Behind him, several minions wearing sunglasses erupted in laughter. Zheng Jigang felt a wave of relief wash over him. With Wang Yu placing a bet on this horse, the victory of Emerald Flash was assured. Perhaps you celebrate too soon. It might be you who is the fool, Wang Yu said, laying down his tablet with a light chuckle. Zheng Jigang's smile instantly froze, only to explode into a more raucous laughter, his subordinates following suit. Wang Yu, do you think this is a movie? You believe a horse that has never raced can turn the tables? This horse doesn't even deserve to be compared to Emerald Flash. His subordinates laughed, mocking Wang Yu's audacity. Why not admit defeat? Out of my benevolence, I could let you off the hook, provided you offer me a few billion Hong Kong dollars more. Zheng Jigang tossed his hair, feigning concern for Wang Yu. Xiang Zhao stepped forward, intentionally bumping into Zheng Jigang. Your words are as foul as horse manure. So what if it has never raced? When your ancestors started their business, didn't they begin from nothing? You. Zheng Jigang was furious. How dare this brat compare his ancestors to horse racing? Ignoring him, Xiang Zhao turned to Wang Yu, saying, I believe in your ability to assess horses. Since you have placed a bet, I shall wager 10 million Hong Kong dollars as well. I'm betting on a win. The odds are 88 to 1. This is a grand opportunity. Why not place a bet yourself? Lest you find yourself without funds when the compensation reaches 20 billion after losing, let them be arrogant for a moment. Let them pray that this little white horse can win first place. Otherwise, they shall not leave here unscathed. Zheng Jigang's veins bulged in anger, his fists cracking ominously as he glared at the group. Xiang Junling also picked up her tablet, following Wang Yu's lead and betting on Black Emperor, supporting him with action. Meanwhile, the Guo couple glanced down at their tablet, their fingers gliding over the screen. Given the current situation, following Wang Yu's bet naturally offended Zheng Jigang, and with his minions present, they felt compelled not to confront him directly. However, betting on Emerald Flash posed a significant risk. While Wang Yu had already proven his discernment in previous wagers, the likelihood of Black Emperor winning appeared substantial, making it unwise to squander money on Emerald Flash. At present, Zheng Jigang held the upper hand with a greater number of subordinates, and the disparity between Xiang Zhao, Wang Yu, and Zheng Jigang was glaring. While the Wang family was not comparable to the Zheng family, the distance was great, and resolving the situation would not be immediate. The Xiang family was also not to be underestimated, and the circumstances could very well shift. If he becomes too close to Zheng Jigang, it may not end well, and his expression may betray his discomfort. It is wiser to offend neither party. Wang Yu merely cast him a fleeting glance, unperturbed by his choice, which was indeed a prudent one. The saying, when gods fight, mortals suffer, aptly describes the predicament that Guo Fuqing now faces. Regardless of which side ultimately prevails in the confrontation with Zheng Jigang, the current ambiguity renders neutrality the most sagacious option. Their relationship was hardly profound. They were mere acquaintances, having met when he was once an artist under Xiang Huaqiang's management. Madame Guo sat nearby, her countenance tense, gripping his arm with trembling hands. Guo Fuqing shook his head in resignation. He was but a small star, incapable of inciting conflict with anyone. Chapter 271, Awaiting Ruin Before Long. The final race of the evening commenced. The atmosphere at the racetrack grew palpably tense. The grandstands filled with tens of thousands of spectators fell silent, fervently cheering for their chosen horses in their hearts. The starting gates thundered open, and 28 racehorses surged forth like arrows released from a bow, their hooves striking the ground with a sound akin to thunder, raising clouds of dust. Emerald Lightning, the favored contender, surged ahead, with a vibrant cascade of horses trailing closely behind. The crowd erupted in deafening cheers, the air within the venue seemingly boiling with excitement. Wang Yu observed that Black Emperor hesitated momentarily as the gates opened, its pristine white hooves scraping the ground as if to ascertain the condition of the track beneath. Only after the other horses had gained some distance did it stretch its limbs and leisurely pursue the pack. The stands were immediately filled with murmurs of disappointment. Zheng Jigang, binoculars in hand, laughed heartily, mocking Black Emperor's sluggish reaction on the track. What did I tell you? He bellowed at Wang Yu. A coward who flinches at the starting line dares to compete with Emerald Lightning? Zheng Jigang scrutinized Wang Yu's face, hoping to catch a glimpse of regret. However, Wang Yu paid little heed to his derision, offering only a mild glance in return. In this moment, Zheng Jigang's frustration boiled over, his neck veins bulging in anger. Meanwhile, on the racetrack, Emerald Lightning had extended its lead to 5 lengths, gliding through the bend with an ethereal grace, maintaining an undeniable advantage over the second horse. In contrast, Black Emperor resembled a newly awakened giant, its head, once casually surveying its surroundings, now fixated on the figure of Emerald Lightning, muscles tensing in anticipation. Suddenly, its snow-white form erupted with astonishing speed, racing along the outer edge of the track, hooves flashing in a blur, the kicked-up grass transforming into mist under the lights. The audience erupted into a frenzy, many gasping in astonishment. Gasps of disbelief surged through the stands like a tidal wave, with some leaping to their feet and overturning their seats in shock, while others exclaimed in astonishment. How is this possible? How can this horse run so fast? A young man in the front row, adorned with golden-rimmed spectacles, exclaimed in astonishment. How can a Heko horse possess such explosive power? This is utterly incomprehensible. I have never witnessed a debuting horse demonstrate such mastery of rhythm. Indeed, it was astonishing. The creature's strides were remarkably light, entirely devoid of the burden one would expect during a race. Could it be a genetic mutation? I am aware of the Heko horse's exceptional endurance, but this sprinting speed surpasses even that of thoroughbreds. Goodness, goodness, goodness. Xiang Zhao's face flushed crimson. He shouted thrice and seized the whiskey bottle from the table, tilting it back for a hearty gulp, oblivious to the liquid trickling down his chin and into his shirt collar. As he witnessed the Black Emperor surge forth like an arrow released from a bow, he was so exhilarated that he overturned the freshly arranged table, spilling whiskey everywhere once more. Charge forward, Xiang Zhao bellowed, his voice cracking. Black Emperor, crush them. Look, what did I tell you? The Emerald Lightning is nothing but a farce. This is the true embodiment of a king. Zheng Jigang, gripping the binoculars with increasing intensity, held onto the armrest so tightly that his knuckles turned nearly translucent. The figure of the Emerald Lightning gradually faded from view, replaced by the dazzling white streak of the Black Emperor, surging at an alarming speed. Impossible. This cannot be. Zheng Jigang exclaimed in disbelief. It must be cheating. A racehorse cannot achieve such velocity. Suddenly, as the Black Emperor drew level with the Emerald Lightning, Xiang Zhao leaned out the window, shouting with excitement. His face flushed. He taunted Zheng Jigang. Open your eyes wide. Zheng Jigang, your Emerald Lightning is a mere worthless creature. Ha ha ha. Zheng Jigang's neck, veins bulging, whipped around to face Xiang Zhao, his eyes ablaze with nearly palpable fury, emitting a low growl akin to a cornered beast. In a fit of rage, he seized the crystal ashtray from the table and hurled it towards Xiang Zhao. What? Can't handle the loss. Xiang Zhao barely sidestepped the projectile, sneering. Shut your mouth. Zheng Jigang stormed toward the glass window, shouting, what is the jockey doing? Accelerate. Accelerate. He pounded the railing furiously, the clattering of metal merging with the audience's uproar into a cacophony, as the Black Emperor completely overtook the Emerald Lightning, its white figure streaking across the finish line like an arrow released from a bow. Zheng Jigang's voice abruptly ceased. He appeared as if his soul had been siphoned away. Lost in a daze, the electronic screen illuminated with the name of the Black Emperor in crimson letters, displaying real-time odds of 1 to 88. A thunderous cheer erupted from the stands. Some frantically tore up their betting slips, while others wept in despair, a myriad of reactions unfolding. Wang Yu observed the outcome with a calm demeanor. There was no surprise at the Black Emperor claiming first place. Although this was its debut race, and it might lack the experience and finesse of other horses, such minor flaws could not overshadow its extraordinary physical prowess. Without any need for finesse, it simply outpaced the Emerald Lightning. Wang Yu found himself increasingly enamored with this magnificent steed. His bank card once again received a staggering sum of 880 million Huaxia coins. He felt no joy in winning again. Instead, he turned to Zheng Jigang and declared, it appears you have lost. First, bring out the 2 billion Hong Kong dollars, and then kneel below. You shall rise only when I permit you to. With a foot placed confidently on the nearby leather sofa, he looked down at Zheng Jigang, a triumphant smirk adorning his face. Did you hear that, young Master Zheng? Young Master Wang commands you to kneel. You better get down there without delay. Do not make me take action. He forcefully slammed a bottle of wine at Zheng Jigang's feet, shattering glass and spilling liquid everywhere. What are you still standing there for? Xiang's raised an eyebrow at Zheng Jigang's lackeys. Didn't you hear your master requesting to part with his wealth to avert disaster? Hurry and settle the accounts. He then threw an arm around Wang Yu's shoulder, exhilaration lighting up his eyes. Brother, your foresight is truly remarkable. With you by my side, I shall stroll confidently through the racecourse in the future. 1TI? This news must be shared immediately on social media. Let those fools see what a true winner looks like. This is an 88-fold return, and tonight I have truly struck gold. As he spoke, he fished out his phone and began snapping pictures of the victorious Black Emperor on the electronic screen, utterly unconcerned about the impending events. Suddenly, Zheng Jigang erupted into a sinister laugh, the previous days vanishing from his expression, replaced by a glint of ferocity in his eyes. You think you can make me kneel? You ought to consider your own worth. No sooner had he finished speaking than the burly men behind him surged forward, knives glinting ominously in their hands. Beat them to pulp. Zheng Jigang roared, retreating a step. Break those two bastards' legs. Chapter 272. It is not 20 years ago as the men prepared to charge forward. Lung Feng stood resolutely like an iron tower in front of Wang Yu, gripping his baton tightly and fixating on the approaching thugs. Yet, Wang Yu remained remarkably composed. Tucking his phone into his inner pocket, his calm demeanor instantly soothing Lung Feng's restless spirit. Boss, rest assured, even if it costs me my life today, I shall not let you come to harm, unless they step over my dead body. Lung Feng whispered, his eyes brimming with determination. During his time with Wang Yu, this retired soldier had not worried about finances. His wife no longer had to toil at menial jobs, nor endure disdainful glances. His daughter wore a brand new school uniform and stood tall at a prestigious school. All these changes were a gift from Wang Yu, akin to a life-saving grace. Moreover, following Wang Yu had shielded him from danger, earning a generous salary each month. Wherever they went, whether dining or lodging in luxurious hotels, his quality of life surpassed that of many affluent individuals. Wang Yu treated him not merely as a bodyguard, but with the respect he deserved. Lung Feng was immensely grateful. Now was the time to repay that kindness. The knife, gleaming coldly, sliced through the air as Lung Feng pivoted and seized the wrist of the first assailant to lunge at him, driving his knee viciously into the man's abdomen. The sickening sound of shattering bones mingled with the anguished cries that erupted. He seized the dagger with a swift motion, turning it to slash open the arm of another thug. Splattered droplets of blood fell upon the polished leather of his shoes. Yet this flamboyant young master maintained an expression of tranquility. He had witnessed such scenes countless times. What are you all gaping for? Charge at them, he roared at his bodyguards. Over a dozen suited bodyguards surged forth, fanning out in a semicircle to firmly suppress Zhang Jigang's henchmen. The thugs were forced back 3 steps by Xiang Zhe's bodyguards, but suddenly they all drew electric batons from their waists in unison. Knives in their right hands and electric sticks in their left, the crackling blue light casting an eerie green hue upon their faces. Truly, they had forsaken martial ethics. Resorting to technology, this battle would be arduous, Cold Feng silently lamented. Nevertheless, faced with such a situation, he did not retreat an inch, vowing to safeguard Wang Yu's safety at all costs. Xiang Shao, I'm afraid today you shall meet your demise. The scar-faced, brawny man sneered, as iron rods clashed with electric batons, sparking brilliantly. Who would triumph in this struggle remained uncertain. Who do you think you are to threaten me? Calmly, Xiangzhe retrieved a pack of cigarettes from his pocket, placed one between his lips, and lit it up. Today, it is undoubtedly you who will perish. Ha ha ha. Just as his words fell, a flying knife grazed his hair, embedding itself deeply into the pillar behind him. Xiangzhe remained unfazed, taking a deep drag from his cigarette. Cold Feng parried a short knife aimed at him, catching a glimpse of Zhang Jigang retreating. Sweat trickled into his wounds, causing sharp pain. In such a chaotic melee, even with his skills, he could not escape injury. However, these minor wounds were inconsequential to him, failing to diminish his combat prowess. Boss, you stay with Xiang Shao. I shall capture that insignificant fish. Before Wang Yu could respond, he dashed towards the thug's defenses like an arrow released from a bow, accurately striking the knee point of an obstructive adversary. He edged closer to Zhang Jigang. Zhang Shao, he is Wang Yu, the son of Wang Jiangwo from the Wang family in the mainland. Guo Fuqing attempted to mediate as the fight ensued. Zhang Jigang wore a disdainful expression, completely disregarding Guo Fuqing's words. I don't care whose son he is. In Hong Kong, the Zhang family's fist is the law. Beat him along with the others. Guo Fuqing's complexion darkened. His greatest fears had materialized, and the situation was spiraling out of control. Mrs. Guo anxiously clutched his arm. The two retreated to the corner of the private room. Meanwhile, chaotic sounds and the piercing screams of women filtered in from outside. Clearly, Zhang Jigang's men had clashed with someone. The battle raged fiercely. Outside the private room, Zhang Jigang's henchmen continued to flood in for support. And Cold Feng gradually found himself at a disadvantage. Even though they were hand-picked and battle-hardened, they could not withstand the tactic of sheer numbers. Cold Feng maneuvered left and right within the fray, yet he could not break through the encirclement. Just then, he felt a sudden jolt in his lower back. Unbeknownst to him, an electric baton had been pressed against his back. The current coursed through his back, spreading throughout his body, and Cold Feng uncontrollably dropped to one knee, his vision blurring, the figures around him appearing doubled. The cacophony of chaos, footfalls, anguished cries, and the clash of metal washed over him like a relentless tide. He strained to lift his gaze, spotting Zhang Jigang ensconced within a protective circle of shadowy figures. A smug smile gracing his lips. Give it your all. Zhang Jigang bellowed from a distance, brandishing a black pistol. Yet, he hesitated, daunted by the gravity of the environment. This was no ordinary venue. It was the government-sanctioned horse racing club. To fire a weapon here would be sheer folly, a reckless act that would invite dire consequences. His summoning of so many to confront Xiangjia had already treaded a perilous line. The introduction of firearms would only exacerbate his predicament. The world had changed drastically since 2 decades prior. As long as no shots were fired, authorities could turn a blind eye, allowing them to feign ignorance. After all, Zheng was the scion of the Zheng family, a clan that wielded considerable influence, straddling the realms of politics and commerce, with many prominent figures as their guests. The clout they possessed was formidable. Whoever can incapacitate Xiangjia will earn 3 million. For every other head, 1 million Hong Kong dollars. Zheng Jigang's proclamation ignited a fervor among the assailants. In an instant, 3 daggers lunged toward Lung Feng's face. A cold sweat broke out on Lung Feng. In a moment of peril, he rolled to the ground, kicking one assailant's wrist, while his baton swept down, toppling 2 more, narrowly averting disaster. He quickly regained his footing and returned to Wang Yu, shaking his head with a wry smile. Wang Yu's eyes widened as he beheld Lung Feng staggering before him, his pupils constricting in horror. A gruesome gash marred Lung Feng's chest, blood seeping forth and staining his clothing crimson. His left shoulder hung awkwardly, clearly dislocated. Blood dripped from the baton in his right hand, mingling with spilled liquor and shattered glass on the floor, turning the carpet a horrific dark red. "You're gravely injured." Wang Yu's voice was heavy, reaching out to assist him, only to be evaded by Lung Feng's sidestep. "Boss, don't worry about me. Find a chance to escape." Lung Feng rasped, his voice grating like sandpaper, each word sending jolts of pain through his wounds, causing him to draw sharp breaths. He strained to stand upright, yet his legs trembled uncontrollably. The lingering effects of the electric baton still coursed through his back, and darkness encroached upon his vision, threatening to engulf him. Xiangjia observed Lung Feng, who stood steadfast like an iron wall before Wang Yu, admiration flickering in his eyes. Chapter 273. The Folly of Reckless Bravery. What a brave man. Use some strength, why the cowardice? Were you drained dry last night? Xiangjia seized a bottle and hurled it viciously at the nearest assailant. He attempted to surge forward, but was firmly restrained by Xiang Junling. "Damn it, let us go all out, brothers." Over a dozen bodyguards exchanged glances before erupting in unison. Transitioning from defense to offense, the crack of electric batons and iron rods reverberating, shaking dust from the ceiling. The assailants were caught off guard by the sudden counterattack from Xiangjia's bodyguards. However, their numerical advantage soon allowed them to regroup, and the 2 factions clashed violently. The battle intensified with fervor as Xiang's was struggled against Xiang Junling's firm grip, the veins in his neck bulging. With a sudden jerk, he broke free from her hold. "Let go. Just watch me take down this fool," he exclaimed. "Sister, don't stop me. My brothers are already in the fray. I cannot afford to back down." Grasping a broken bottle, the glass cutting into his palm went unnoticed. A wild fervor flickered across Xiang's face. From a young age, he had been passionate about martial arts, training under numerous masters, and his family had risen from a history of violence. Years ago, the Xiang family's business even dabbled in such affairs. Despite his usual carefree demeanor, he had witnessed bloodshed alongside his father. The chaos unfolding before him hardly fazed him. Rather, it exhilarated him. Suddenly, a sharp slap resonated through the tumult, as Xiang Junling struck Xiang Zhua across the face. The sound cut through the clamor of the brawl, and he turned his head in disbelief, 5 distinct marks appearing on his cheek. His hand, still clutching the bottle, froze mid-air as he stared incredulously at his sister. "Get a grip," Xiang Junling admonished, gripping the soft flesh at his waist, her brow furrowed. "Do you think this is like the days of collecting protection money with Dad?" Zheng Jigang has long been prepared. There are at least hundreds of his men outside. The corridors are packed with his people. "Are you planning to charge in head first?" Xiang Zhua, panting heavily, felt his resolve wane upon meeting his sister's gaze. In his youth, he often snuck out to mingle with his father's thugs, and it was always his sister who secretly bandaged his wounds and provided cover for him. After the family's reformation, he had refrained from engaging in violence himself. Now, he observed his sister, her hair in disarray, her pearl necklace broken, yet she steadfastly shielded him. When you approached Yangzhua, helping to brush the glass shards from his clothing, his tone steady yet clear. "A gentleman is like jade. One should not seek reckless valor. Charging in now would be unwise." His gaze swept across the chaos, landing on Xiang Junling. "What you say is true. Zheng Jigang would relish your impulsive attack. Do not act rashly. Inside the private room, blood stained the floor, and the fighting was particularly brutal. More than 10 bodyguards utilized sofas and other objects to gain advantageous positions, while only a few could approach at a time, making it difficult to break through their defenses. Wang Yu felt his blood surge with excitement, yearning to plunge into the fray himself, though his extraordinary physical prowess felt wasted in this moment. Yet, the opponents before him were seasoned fighters. Should he charge in now, he would be courting death. In less than a minute, he could be overwhelmed, not even knowing how he met his end. Echoing in his mind were the words spoken by his grandfather and father. No matter what occurs, preserving oneself is of utmost importance. Ultimately, Wang Yu slowly released his clenched fists, yearning for a combat-related skill to unleash his pent-up energy. It felt utterly stifling. Among more than 10 skills, only Basketball Star offered a hint of confrontational technique. However, Wang Yu could not possibly find a basketball to unleash his Koan fist. A sense of frustration enveloped him. Although he had advised Xiang Zhao against personally engaging in combat, the distinction between having martial prowess and choosing to employ it was stark. If only he possessed a few martial arts techniques, leveraging his physical capabilities, he could bring those before him to their knees without the need for firearms. Xiang Zhao's Adam's apple bobbed as his hand, gripping the bottle, trembled slightly. Wang Yu placed a hand on his arm that held the bottle and spoke slowly. The commotion outside is growing louder. Your people should be arriving soon. Xiang Zhao focused on Wang Yu's hand on his arm, regaining his composure amidst the cacophony of shouts and cries echoing like a tidal wave in the corridor, a fervor that had long since waned. Give me the bottle. Xiang Junling reached over to snatch the half-broken bottle from him. Glancing down at her vibrating phone, a cold smile graced her lips. The third has already arrived downstairs. We just need to hold on for 5 more minutes. Very well, Xiang Zhao said, shaking his head in mild disinterest, abandoning the thought of stretching his limbs. Guo Fuqing, visibly trembling, approached Xiang Junling, his tie askew and bloodstains marring his forehead. Struggling to maintain his composure, he voiced his concern. Miss Xiang, have your people arrived? It seems they can hardly hold out much longer. Several bodyguards had already fallen, while Zheng Jigang's enforcers continued to surge forth relentlessly. What are you panicking for? The third's men are breaching the building's defenses. Just hold on for another 3 minutes. Xiang Junling replied, her brow furrowed, annoyance punctuating her tone. Her gaze swept over Guo Fuqing's disheveled appearance, her voice laced with disdain. Had I known, I would never have brought you along. You only add to the chaos. Guo Fuqing's face paled instantly, his lips quivering as he attempted to defend himself, but a sudden loud crash interrupted him. Several enforcers nearly charged forward, only to be halted just in time by the bodyguards. Seeing this, Lung Feng rushed into the fray once more. Wang Yu reached out to stop Rafa, but the urgency of the situation left no room for hesitation. Bloodied, Lung Feng surged forward like a released arrow, his baton sweeping through the air with a foul wind, landing a precise strike on an enforcer's wrist. The sickening crack of shattering bone mingled with their cries, yet more enforcers swarmed from all directions, encircling him completely. Lung Feng, watch your back. Wang Yu's voice was drowned out by the tumult of battle. A burly man seized the opportunity, swinging a metal rod viciously toward Lung Feng's skull. At the critical moment, Lung Feng rolled aside to evade the blow, the rod grazing his scalp before crashing into the ground, sending shards of stone flying and slicing his cheek. He knelt on one knee, gasping for breath as though he were a winded bellows, the bloodied baton creaking ominously in his grasp. Observing this, Xiang Zhao's eyes flashed with a fierce intensity as she seized an ashtray from the table and hurled it towards Zheng Jigang. What the hell are you all doing? Hold the line. The ashtray she threw narrowly missed Zheng Jigang, shattering against the doorframe into a fine powder, causing him to retract his neck in surprise. Seizing the moment, Lung Feng, with great effort, pushed himself up using his baton. His garments were drenched in a dark, crimson hue, and each breath he took sent a jolt of excruciating pain through his fractured ribs. His gaze swept across Wang Yu's face, and suddenly, he broke into a grin. Chapter 274. What innate divine strength is this? A blade came hurtling towards his chest. Upon witnessing this, Lung Feng could not suppress a flicker of despair. The glint of the cold steel was menacing, mere inches away from his heart. Wang Yu, in that instant, became alarmed. Since the moment Lung Feng had joined him, his unwavering loyalty had been evident, and he could not allow him to perish here. Wang Yu glanced at a decorative vase, standing as tall as a person, seized it with all his might, and hurled it towards the assailant. The vase, propelled by a fierce gust, struck the knife wielder with a shattering crash, causing him to stagger and collide with the adjacent wall, crimson blood immediately oozing from his temple, nearly rendering him unconscious. Seizing the opportunity, Lung Feng raised his leg and kicked at the opponent's knee, and as the assailant collapsed, he brought the baton crashing down upon his neck, rendering him completely unconscious. Across from them, Zheng Jigang stared in astonishment. That vase weighed no less than 100 pounds, and Wang Yu had thrown it with such force. How remarkable was this innate strength? Was he even human? Yet, the crisis was not averted. Amidst the chaos, an iron rod, flung from an unknown source, nearly struck Wang Yu's leg. Xiang Zhao grasped Wang Yu's arm, pulling him back. Be careful. If you get hurt, Lung Feng's efforts will be in vain. His eyes were filled with curiosity as he regarded Wang Yu. Though he appeared slightly more robust, no one could have anticipated such prodigious strength. The distance from the entrance was at least 5 meters, and he had tossed the vase with such agility. Truly, he was an impressive brother. Having seen Lung Feng escape peril, Wang Yu regained his composure, yet his gaze towards Zheng Jigang grew increasingly frigid. Hong Kong was indeed unlike the mainland. Among the affluent, they fought with lethal intent, leaving Wang Yu to ponder whether there was a personal vendetta between him and Xiang Zhao, or if this was the peculiar nature of the local circles. It surpassed his wildest imagination. In the city of magic, regardless of the feuds among the wealthy, a modicum of reason prevailed. None would resort to fatal violence unless they were prepared to sever ties with their social circles. The unspoken rule was to keep matters within bounds, allowing the previous generation to trust their offspring to venture freely without excessive concern for danger. Zheng Jigang, frustrated by the stalemate, pulled out his phone. Once the call connected, he bellowed, "Where the hell are you? Why are there so few of you? None of Xiang Zhao's people have been dealt with, damn it. After all this time, when I finally find Xiang Zhao alone, don't let me down now. Why are there still so many chaotic sounds outside? Get in here immediately, or you'll regret it." On the other end, cries and fragmented responses filled the line. Zheng Xiao, the situation is dire. Several groups of the Xiang family have emerged from nowhere and are assaulting the building, and their numbers are increasing. We can barely hold on. Useless. All of you are worthless. Zheng Jigang's temples throbbed with fury as he hurled his phone against the wall, shattering it into countless pieces. He glared at his subordinates who were meant to protect him and bellowed, "You all charge forward and subdue them immediately." His men, chastised and on edge, gritted their teeth and surged ahead with a fierce roar. In the midst of the chaos, the clang of metal grew increasingly frenetic. Although Xiang Zhuo's bodyguards were well trained, they found themselves struggling against the overwhelming numbers and the bloodlust of Zheng Jigang's thugs. The defense was faltering. One bodyguard electric baton was sent flying by a steel rod, followed swiftly by a deep gash across his shoulder, blood staining his black suit. "Hold on. Reinforcements are on the way," Xiang Junling shouted, navigating through the debris. Her gaze was icy. "Get your act together. If the Xiang family's reputation is tarnished here, none of you will escape unscathed." Her voice cut through the turmoil, causing the bodyguards to tighten their grips on their weapons. "Endure. After this, each of you will receive 1 million Hong Kong dollars. Your families will be taken care of by the Xiang family. As the eldest son, I swear this will be fulfilled. Your loved ones will not suffer." Xiang Zhuo spoke with utmost seriousness, his expression grave. No sooner had he finished than a low, fierce roar erupted from the private room. The bodyguard's eyes ignited with fervent determination. "Rest assured, young Master Xiang, the Xiang family has treated us well. Even if we perish today, we shall not allow these scoundrels to prevail." One bodyguard, bloodied yet resolute, swung his baton, forcing a nearby thug to stumble back. The others mirrored his defiance, standing firm against the enemy onslaught. "Kill! Kill! Kill! Kill!" Zheng Jigang, witnessing the enemy's defenses fortifying once more, erupted in rage. "Whoever can breach their lines and claim ahead, I shall ensure their future is secure." He barked at his men, "Charge forward, you fools." Though his thugs were enticed by the bounty, the reckless ferocity of the Xiang bodyguards instilled a sense of trepidation, causing their momentum to falter. Amidst the melee, Lung Feng's baton had begun to bend, his wounds oozing blood, yet he fought on relentlessly. Wang Yu observed his wavering figure, anxiety gnawing at him. However, he knew that any rash action would only lead to further chaos. He bent to retrieve a broken chair leg, scanning the surroundings vigilantly, prepared to respond to any sudden developments. Just then, a cacophony of footsteps and battle cries erupted from the corridor outside the private room, louder and more fervent than before. Zheng Jigang's complexion turned ashen, while the bodyguards displayed expressions of relief, even charging forward with renewed vigor. They understood that reinforcements were finally approaching. Instantly, they resumed their fierce combat. Guo Fuqing and his wife, who had been anxiously awaiting the outcome, finally relaxed, exchanging glances filled with unspoken curses. The conflicts among these affluent families were indeed a matter of life and death. His heart could scarcely endure the strain. Zheng Jigang, today marks your demise. Xiang Zhua fixed his gaze upon him, a glint of fierce determination flashing in his eyes. He was genuinely enraged. If we manage to capture Zheng Jigang this time, we must impart upon him a profound lesson. In the past, their conflicts, marked by skirmishes and altercations, were merely part of their existence. Victory or defeat was simply a matter of skill. Even if he had to endure the loss of a few fingers at the hands of his adversary, he bore it without a hint of complaint. However, now Zheng Jigang audaciously seeks to involve Wang Yu, even intending to lay hands on him. If anything were to happen to Wang Yu here, the Xiang family would be doomed to accompany the Zheng family into oblivion, with no place to rest in death. Xiang Junling smiled faintly, selecting an intact chair and seating herself with grace, no longer troubled by the unfolding events. Beads of sweat, large as pearls, trickled down Zheng Jigang's forehead into his collar. He swallowed hard in panic, resembling a beast trapped in an iron cage. Why panic? Steady yourself, Zheng Jigang shouted hoarsely, his voice trembling involuntarily. Out of the corner of his eye, he glimpsed cars arriving outside and a crowd gathering in the distance. It suddenly dawned on him that reinforcements from the Xiang family were not merely a few individuals. They had likely surrounded the building entirely. The thought drenched his back in cold sweat. As he observed Xiang family members ascending the stairwell, Zheng Jigang felt a pang of regret. How did it come to this? Wasn't he in a position of advantage? Before seeking trouble with Xiang Jia, he had even instructed his subordinates to intercept members of the Yain Association, fearing that news might leak, all to prevent these individuals from aiding Xiang Jia. Although the Yain Association had gradually declined under official pressure over the years, it was not just him who faced this downfall. Every organization in Hong Kong was experiencing a similar decline, their space for survival severely constricted. The Yain Association had managed to maintain a relatively stable presence. In earlier years, the patriarch of the Xiang family had held a prestigious position, being the favored protégé of the former boss, engaging in special activities here. The Yain Association once held significant standing in this realm. However, with societal advancements and official crackdowns, the activities of the Yain Association faced restrictions. Yet overseas, particularly in Southeast Asia, they thrived even more. In light of this situation, for the sake of security, the Xiang family had divided its development into two paths, with Xiang Huqiang pursuing a commercial route while leaving other matters to his elder brother. The Zheng family engaged in legitimate business, holding a considerable share in the global jewelry industry. However, wealth is never-ending, and true power is required to safeguard it. What constitutes true power? It is self-evident. Zheng Jigang, fueled by his penchant for violence and armed with familial support, had cultivated a band of loyal thugs, gradually evolving into a gang of several hundred members. Zheng Jigang was brimming with confidence, yet he was not so arrogant as to confront the entirety of the Yain Association. He merely aimed to catch Xiang Jia off guard. However, he had not anticipated such swift reinforcements. In truth, there was little substantial conflict or misunderstanding between him and Xiang Jia. Since time immemorial, what men have truly valued revolves around fame and fortune. In modern society, the soil for the development of associations has long since vanished. The remnants of organizations like the once thriving Yain Society, which once boasted hundreds of thousands, now barely muster mere 10,000, if that. Ordinary individuals seek the tranquility of stable employment to support their families. That alone suffices. Only a handful of youthful spirits, or those who have prematurely left their studies, find this exhilarating. They perceive it as stylish, glamorous, and a chance to revel in the notion that they, too, can carve out their own destinies akin to renowned magnates. Unfortunately, the current landscape is no longer one of reckless violence. The authorities have kept a vigilant eye on the Yain Society in recent years, turning a blind eye to its minor transgressions due to the lure of its unique interests. Yet, the friliest of camels outweighs the mightiest of horses. Usurping the Yain Society's esteemed position in the underworld is no easy feat. As the eldest scion of the Xiang family, Xiang Zhua stands poised to eliminate this rival, a move that would significantly enhance his reputation. If executed swiftly enough, the Xiang family's response would be too late to counteract. There are those who would offer him protection. For the Yin society, however, this spelled disaster, stripping away any semblance of dignity they managed to cling to. The Zheng family, lurking in the shadows, might very well recruit some leaders to take their place. In the underbelly of Hong Kong, the Zheng family could soon wield ultimate authority. Yet, the present circumstances are unfolding contrary to his aspirations. The bodyguards accompanying Xiang would display exceptional prowess. Despite the overwhelming numbers, they remain unyielding. While their own ranks have suffered considerable losses, with dozens injured, it is no wonder Xiang's were brought such a select few. They are elite. At present, Zheng Zhigang and his associates find themselves encircled by Yin society members. Judging by the cacophony outside, it seems the Yin society has mobilized its entire force. This is escalating perilously. Zheng Zhigang, hearing the commotion, cannot see the precise situation but senses the urgency mounting. The throbbing at his temples intensifies, and his fingers, taut around the gun, turn pale from exertion. His suit is drenched in cold sweat, his back pressed against the icy wall of the booth. His gaze fixed with fierce intensity on Xiang Zhe, who commands his bodyguards with fervor. The relentless battle cries from outside strike his nerves like a hammer, and Zheng Zhigang's sanity begins to unravel. There is no way to resolve this situation amicably. If the Yin Society's members breach their defenses, his fate is sealed. If I must perish, then so shall you. Zheng Zhigang suddenly roars, raising his gun to aim at Xiang Zhe. The ominous muzzle glints coldly, poised to pull the trigger. Wang Yu notices his movements. Careful, he bellows, summoning every ounce of strength to leap towards Xiang Zhe. His robust frame crashes into Xiang Zhe like a wall, sending them both sprawling to the ground. The bullet grazes the tips of Xiang Zhe's hair, embedding itself deeply in the wall. Xiang Zhe, momentarily stunned by the abrupt collision, soon realizes he is pinned beneath Wang Yu. Are you all right? Wang Yu's chest heaves violently, a wave of fear washing over him. I'm fine, Xiang Zhe replies, drenched in cold sweat. He had never anticipated that Zheng Zhigang would truly dare to pull the trigger. Has he lost his mind? This is an official horse racing event. How dare he act so recklessly? This is a blatant affront to the authorities. Is he not afraid of facing consequences? Curse it. Zheng Zhigang, having missed a shot, descended into madness, pulling the trigger repeatedly towards Xiang Zhe. Just as the bullets whistled perilously close to Xiang Zhe and Wang Yu, the blood-soaked Lung Feng noticed the unfolding chaos. Suddenly, he surged from the fray, bellowing as he overturned the central dining table. Its solid wooden surface shielding them from the onslaught of bullets, the splintering wood echoing with dull thuds. Quick, hide behind me. Lung Feng's voice was hoarse. Yet he maintained a vigilant stance, his bloodied back slightly arched as he peered ahead. Die, all of you! Zheng Zhigang's frenzied roar echoed. He continuously shifted his shooting angle, bullets piercing the table edges, carving deep furrows into the ground. Xiang Junling and Guo Fuqing finally snapped out of their stupor, shrieking as they took refuge behind the sofa. Xiang Junling's chest heaved, her face etched with terror. Had Zheng Zhigang aimed at her just moments ago, she would likely be a lifeless body sprawled on the floor now. Sister Xiang, I'm scared, Wah. Beside her, Fang Yuan clung tightly to Xiang Junling's arm, unable to suppress her tears. Xiang Junling fought to quell her own fear, wrapping her arms around the trembling Fang Yuan, gently patting her back. Do not fear, I am here. Hold on, our people will arrive shortly. Her voice, though still tinged with tremors, strove to convey calm and warmth. Look, Zheng Zhigang is about to meet his end. We shall be safe. The Xiang family is not to be trifled with. Support from the third brother is on its way, and Zheng Zhigang will not succeed. She cast her gaze towards the Xiang family bodyguards engaged in fierce combat with Zheng Zhigang's subordinates, a fierce glint igniting in her eyes. As she spoke, she gently wiped away Fang Yuan's tears. If your face is smeared with tears, you won't look beautiful. We must gather our spirits. Once this turmoil passes, Sister will take you out for a delightful meal to wash away today's misfortunes. Turning her attention to the equally shaken Guo Fuqing, a flicker of discontent crossed Xiang Junling's features, yet she spoke solemnly. Guo, please take good care of your wife and be cautious. Chapter 276. The Twin Tigers of the Dragon and Tiger Curse Be It. Zheng Zhigang soon expended all the ammunition he carried. The carbon-based biological stabilizer instantly transformed into a mere club. He glared at the unharmed Xiang Zhe and the others, furiously hurling his weapon to the ground. Zheng Zhigang's chest heaved violently. Suddenly, he bent down to seize a fallen, curved blade, his eyes ablaze with rage as he screamed, Xiang Zhua, today is either your death or mine. He spat vehemently onto the ground, brandishing the blade as he charged into the crowd, completely losing his sanity. Fortunately, his loyal companions clung tightly to him. Let go of me. I will slay him. Zheng Jigang continued to struggle. Zheng Xiao, the tide has turned. We must flee. Two of his subordinates grasped him firmly, barely managing to restrain him. Just then, the sound of a collision reached Wang Yu and the others. Before long, the wall of a nearby private room exploded with a thunderous roar. Amidst the flying debris, a robust man, adorned with a shoulder dragon tattoo and bare-chested, emerged through the smoke. The corridor outside the building was teeming with Zheng Jigang's men. Choosing to break through the wall here was evidently a judicious decision. Blood seeped from his body, and numerous ghastly scars bore witness to his relentless ascent from the depths of the building. He charged forth like a bulldozer, wielding dual blades with ferocity. Following closely behind were other, similarly bare-chested warriors. Xiang Xiao, my apologies for arriving late. Upon reaching Xiang Jia and the others, he knelt on one knee, his expansive dragon tattoo shifting with the movement of his muscles as if animated. Blood dripped from the edge of his machete. I apologize for the delay. Please punish me. My brothers are clearing the building, and none of these Zheng family scoundrels shall escape. A deep voice echoed from distance. 7 or 8 more bare-chested warriors burst into the private room, some adorned with iron chains at their waists, others wielding lengthy iron rods, each smeared with blood. The foremost among them, a bald man with a vividly inked tiger on his chest and finger claws on his hands, pressed 2 thugs against the wall, delivering relentless punches until they were reduced to a bloody pulp, their breaths fading gradually. Brother Long, Brother Hu, your efforts are commendable. Xiang Jia observed the newcomers, finally allowing his tense body to relax as he helped the dragon-tattooed warrior to his feet. The latter nodded in acknowledgement before charging forward once more, his arms bulging with veins, the dual blades in his hands becoming mere phantoms, wherever the cold gleam passed. Zheng Jigang's subordinates barely had time to scream before their throats were slit or blades plunged into their chests. Blood erupted like a fountain, splattering across the pristine white walls. Damn it! The twin tigers have arrived. Someone protect me. Zheng Jigang exclaimed in sheer panic upon witnessing the newcomers. Wang Yu, gazing at the blood-soaked yet commanding figures of Brother Long and Brother Hu, felt his eyes nearly bulge from their sockets, his face a mask of astonishment. Where did these formidable warriors come from? He approached Xiang Jia and whispered, they could easily take on 10 foes. They're simply invincible. How extraordinary. His gaze fixated on the bald Brother Hu was mercilessly striking his enemies barehanded, his pupils slightly constricting in awe and curiosity. My goodness, is this what they call a martial artist? Wang Yu, filled with curiosity, activated his true vision to observe the 2 men, their personal information instantly materializing before him. Name, Xiang Long, age, 26, height, 182 centimeters, charisma, 90, physique, 97, affinity, 50, skills, advanced dual blade technique, intermediate Bagua Palm, intermediate Baji Quan. Name, Xiang Hu, age, 25, height, 185 centimeters, charisma, 85, physique, 99, affinity, 50, skills, advanced Baji Quan, intermediate iron shirt. Wang Yu stared in astonishment at the impressive attributes of the 2 men. The 2 individuals navigated through the throng with fierce tenacity, embodying a remarkable prowess akin to that of superhuman beings. Among all those he had encountered, they possessed the highest physical attributes, nearly reaching the pinnacle of human capability. Notably, Xiang Hu boasted an astonishing physique rated at 99. Their mastery of advanced martial arts techniques seemed to spring forth from the pages of a wuxia novel, a testament to their exceptional abilities. Xiang Zhao's face radiated with pride. Incredible, he exclaimed. Wang Yu, taken aback, observed the duo's ferocity as they battled amidst the crowd. Turning to Xiang Zhao with astonishment in his voice, they are utterly terrifying. Their physical prowess and skills are nothing short of extraordinary. Xiang Zhao beamed with pride as he watched Brother Long and Brother Hu engage in their fierce struggle. Both had been orphans taken in by the Xiang family since childhood, their martial talents far surpassing the norm, a deliberate choice to bear the Xiang surname. As he gazed at the increasing number of disciples from the Yi in society arriving in the corridor, he spoke solemnly. When we adopted them, they were merely 7 or 8 years old, living on the streets when my father encountered them. Moved by their plight, he brought them into the Xiong household. He paused for a moment before continuing. Since then, they have diligently trained under the masters in our organization, practicing tirelessly through harsh winters and scorching summers without a single day of idleness. The Xiong family has treated them well, and in return, they have devoted themselves fiercely to our cause. Over the years, they have endured countless hardships and injuries to hone their skills. Xiang Zhao's gaze fell upon the gruesome scar on Brother Long's back. This scar was inflicted when Brother Long was 17, a result of defending my cousin from an enemy's blade, nearly costing him his life. Understanding dawned upon Wang Yu, and a wave of reverence surged within him as he witnessed Brother who effortlessly snapped the arm of a burly man, the bloody scene striking terror in his heart. How have they trained to achieve such prowess? They kill without a flicker of hesitation. They have remained steadfastly loyal to the Xiong family, shielding us from countless threats over the years. Xiang Zhao lamented. As long as the Xiong family breathes, we shall never treat them poorly. They have saved my life once again. Are they not the legendary twin Flower Red Sticks? Wang Yu inquired, captivated by their agile movements. At that moment, Xiang Junling approached, having regained control of the situation. In our world, those deemed twin Flower Red Sticks are unparalleled warriors, and Brother Long and Brother, who represent our generation's finest, she declared. She paused, gesturing toward Brother Long's expertly wielded dual blades and Brother, whose fierce punches, their moniker, the Twin Dragons of Fury, was earned through countless hard-fought battles and life-and-death confrontations. Twin Dragons of Fury, Wang Yu mused, his gaze fixated on their figures. At that moment, Brother Long's blades danced with lethal precision, sending splatters of blood in every direction. Brother whose powerful charge toppled 3 opponents, the sinews on his muscular arms bulging like dragons. Filled with ferocity, Xiang Zhao nodded gravely, his tone heavy with significance. In our society, a red stick represents the most formidable fighter, and the twin flowers are the elite among them. From the tender age of 15, Long Gu and Hu Gu have been embroiled in the affairs of their family, engaging in countless skirmishes, numbering no less than 100. One wields dual blades with exceptional finesse, while the other possesses unmatched prowess in hand-to-hand combat, together carving out a formidable reputation as the twin devils of the dragon and tiger. The mere mention of their names sends shivers down the spines of those within the martial world. Chapter 277. The sound of battle had it not been for Long Gu and Hu Ji's timely arrival. The situation would have been dire indeed. With their presence, even if the Zheng family were to mobilize their entire force, they would think twice. A mixture of gratitude and admiration shone in Xiang's eyes, while Zheng Jigang, protected by his subordinates, experienced a wave of trepidation. He had ordered his men to withdraw and encircle him as they retreated. Before him, the blood mist swirled around Xiang Long's dual blades, accompanied by the ominous clang of Hu Ji's iron staff, causing his legs to tremble uncontrollably. Form a human wall for me. Charge out, he bellowed, gripping the bloodied arm of a nearby thug. As long as we can escape alive, I will reward each of you with 200,000 Hong Kong dollars. With the promise of a hefty reward, the remaining thugs, their eyes alight with fervor, clustered together, shielding Zheng Jigang as they moved toward the stairwell. Some brandished chairs as shields, while others wielded daggers in a frenzied attempt to break through the enemy lines. Below, reinforcements from the Yian society continued to ascend, along with a few of their own bloodied subordinates, creating utter chaos. With a sudden flourish, Xiang Long's dual blade sang with a crisp, dragon-like resonance. The formidable power of the Bagua Sun and Moon Wind blade unveiled in an instant. With a light step, he soared like a swallow, his blades tracing the ethereal shadow of yin-yang fish in the air, the cold glint slicing through the atmosphere with a piercing sound. A flick of his wrist, and the obstructing foes were cleaved in two. Break through, Xiang Long roared, slipping through the gap in the human wall like a wraith. The blades danced in a mesmerizing rhythm, his left hand deftly deflecting blows while his right lunged for vital points, effortlessly dismantling 3 defenses in the blink of an eye. His movements mirrored the principles of Bagua, each maneuver evading the enemy's strikes, while the azure dragon tattoo on his back seemed to come alive, intertwining with the flashing blades and crimson shadows to paint a terrifying tableau. Meanwhile, Xiang Hu stood resolute like an immovable iron wall. He grounded himself in a strong stance, the explosive force of his 8 extremes fist surging forth as he faced the onslaught of machetes and electric batons, advancing rather than retreating. His right fist struck out like a cannonball, sending an assailant flying with a resounding thud. Pressing forward, he unleashed a relentless series of elbows and knees. each blow resonating with the might of an earth-shattering force. Oof. Xiang Hu growled, seizing the shoulder of one thug. With a famed top-elbow strike from the Eight Extremes fist, he slammed it into the ground, instantly caving in the man's ribcage, leaving him crumpled on the floor. He caught a dagger aimed at him with his bare hand, the sharp blade merely leaving a white mark on his palm. A burly man in black raised his machete with a ghastly expression, aiming for Xiang Hu's back. In a swift maneuver, Xiang Hu flipped and tackled him down, his fists raining down like a torrential downpour upon the assailant's face, reducing it to a bloody pulp in mere moments. Two individuals, one gentle and the other fierce, maneuvered through the crowd with an unparalleled prowess, rendering them unstoppable. Xiang Long's dual blades dance with remarkable speed, targeting the vulnerabilities of their opponents with precision. In contrast, Xiang Hu's strikes are akin to the force of thunder, indomitable and devastating, capable of shattering any defense that mere blades cannot breach. Zheng Jigang's human wall crumbles before them, as if made of paper, torn apart by gaping wounds, the echoes of despair resounding through the corridors. One of the thugs, brandishing an electric baton, attempts a stealthy attack on Xiang Long from the side. In a flash of cold steel, the dual blades deftly evade the baton, and with a swift twist of his wrist, Xiang Long severs 3 fingers from the assailant's hand. Ah, my hand! My hand! The severed fingers and the baton fall simultaneously to the ground, as the thug collapses, clutching his mangled hand. His shrill cries reverberating through the building. Surrounded by 3 thugs, Xiang Hu faces an imminent threat, as one of them seizes the opportunity to lash out with a 9-section whip aimed at his neck. Attack! Xiang Hu advances instead of retreating, unleashing a thunderous shout. The explosive force of his 8 Extremes fist crashes down upon the midpoint of the chain, sending it sweeping across the thug's face, instantly mangling half of it. Other disciples of the Ian Society rush in to assist, eliminating the remaining adversaries. Help me, please. Save me. A thug stumbles against the wall, bloodied and howling in anguish. Guo Fuqing, witnessing this gruesome spectacle, pales, his legs trembling uncontrollably. The sight of Xiang Long's blades slicing through the air and Xiang Hu's fist shattering bone sends chills down his spine, making his stomach churn violently. He leans against the wall, retching but yielding nothing, overwhelmed by the urge to vomit. Fang Yuan sits slumped on the sofa, her once delicate visage twisted into a shade of pallor. She clasps her mouth tightly, her expression frozen in horror. Suddenly, unable to contain herself, she whirls around and buries her head nearby, violently expelling the contents of her stomach. The luxurious silk of her dress becomes soiled, her body convulsing uncontrollably, rendered voiceless. Don't look. Guo Fuqing trembles as he attempts to shield his wife's eyes, yet he cannot resist glancing at the scene, his gaze narrowing as he watches Xiang Hu's fist obliterate a thug's nose. Warm blood splatters at their feet, and Fang Yuan lets out a shriek, curling into a fetal position, her nails carving deep scratches into the leather sofa. As Guo Fuqing surveys the chaos, his back drenched in cold sweat, he feels a creeping dread. Is this the legacy of an old family? With a single command, countless individuals sacrifice themselves in unwavering loyalty, fearless in the face of death. The martial prowess displayed before him is reminiscent of a cinematic masterpiece, with the sounds of grunts and exertion enveloping him like an auditory backdrop. It is utterly surreal. Were it not for their confinement in the private room, he might believe he'd been transported to a fantastical world of martial arts. This extraordinary scene renders Guo Fuqing's expression rigid. He had once believed himself to have transcended the ranks of ordinary people, ascending to the echelon of the affluent, belonging to the elite few at the pinnacle of the pyramid. He had convinced himself that, although not on par with the likes of the Xiang or Zheng families, he had little to fear in their presence. It is merely a matter of possessing slightly more wealth than he does. We are all mere mortals, and when one errs, punishment is inevitable. What is so remarkable about that? This has always been his perspective, and it is the reason he can converse so easily with the siblings Xiang Zhao and Xiang Junling. Over the years, since establishing his own company and amassing wealth, he has distanced himself from the simplistic aura of stardom. After a decade and a half, he has accrued a fortune amounting to tens of billions of Hong Kong dollars, marking him as a successful figure in the realm of celebrities. In retrospect, it seems utterly absurd. The world is far from the authenticity and mundanity he perceives. The martial arts masters depicted in films have manifested before him, and bizarrely, it has begun to feel plausible. The Eton society has indeed thrived for half a century, asserting its dominance. With such strength, it becomes comprehensible. He now understands how the Xiong family has remained resilient over the years. The confidence he once derived from his success in the business world has evaporated in an instant. At this moment, he perceives himself as a lamb inadvertently straying into a den of wolves, utterly helpless. The inflated sense of self-assurance has gradually withered away. Chapter 278. It's not as mysterious as it seems. Guo Fuqing gazed at Xiang Zhao and Xiang Junling with eyes filled with reverence. He held his wife close, silently maintaining a respectful distance from them. Wang Yu appeared remarkably composed, albeit slightly uncomfortable, for the scene was undeniably gruesome. Ever since the gunfight on the high seas, he had witnessed great spectacles, rendering the sight of death less daunting. He was somewhat taken aback by the martial prowess exhibited by Xiang Long and Xiang Hu, yet it fell within the realm of comprehension. As long as it did not surpass the limits of human capability, there was little cause for astonishment. After all, he himself was a traveler from another realm, equipped with a mysterious system. The existence of martial arts in this world was not entirely beyond his acceptance. Wang Yu cast another glance at the hellish scene and suddenly turned to Xiang Zhao, inquiring, "Is there truly martial arts in this world?" His expression remained placid. Yet Xiang Zhao detected a flicker of curiosity within him. "What do you believe they have cultivated?" Xiang Zhao's gaze swept across Xiang Long and Xiang Hu, who were clearing the area, and he chuckled softly. "Isn't it so?" Wang Yu, too, felt a twinge of curiosity. According to the information gleaned from his perceptive eye, both of them possessed martial skills. The 8 trigrams knife and the 8 extremes fist. These cinematic elements have become a reality. What else could they be but martial arts? Was this young man attempting to deceive him? In truth, martial arts do exist, albeit not as magical as one may envision. Xiang Zhao observed their agile movements, a hint of envy shimmering in his eyes. In modern society, such martial skills are referred to as ancient martial arts. Within the Eton society, there are numerous masters who possess a few remarkable techniques. In my youth, I too was curious and practiced for a time, but alas, I lacked the innate talent and the fortitude to endure. Observe how formidable they are. With a mere flick of their hands, it is either death or dismemberment, all the while underpinned by efforts that are unimaginable to the average person. Brother Long moves like a specter amidst the throng of enemies, and despite the multitude, few can genuinely lay a hand on him. Truly impressive. It may appear effortless, yet it is the result of years spent rising at 4 o'clock each dawn, practicing horse stance, and traversing plum blossom poles with lead weights strapped to his legs. This dedication has been unwavering for decades. I later learned that at a certain level of proficiency, Brother Long was taken to the high mountain gorges of Yunnan and Guizhou to train amidst steep cliffs. One must wonder, is this something the average person could endure? Wang Yu shook his head. In today's society, where material desires abound, how many can manage even the simplest task of rising promptly at 6 in the morning, let alone at 4? After his rebirth, he aimed for a healthy body and a consistent routine, though he maintained this for a few days. Once he acquired the system's ultimate physical attributes and solidified his abilities, he became less concerned about his health and more entranced by indulgences. Xiang Zhao bent down to pick up a broken blade, idly toying with it in his hand. And then there's Brother Hu. Did you notice how he endured numerous strikes, yet effortlessly caught blades with his bare hands, completely unscathed? Impressive, isn't it? Indeed, extraordinary, Wang Yu affirmed. He had already observed Xiang Hu's formidable physical prowess. Logically speaking, the System S panel indicated his physicality at a remarkable 98 points, far exceeding that of an ordinary individual, yet still within the realm of the typical. Nevertheless, the blows he endured seemed to have no effect on him. He remained unfazed, even catching blades barehanded. The panel's indication of Xiang Hu possessing the iron cloth shirt technique prompted further contemplation. "It's not as mystical as it seems," Xiang Zhao replied, shaking his head. "Brother Hu practices a martial art you may be familiar with, frequently showcased on television. It's called iron cloth shirt. This discipline requires rigorous training to withstand blows. Initially, one must endure strikes from softer materials, allowing the body to gradually acclimate before transitioning to wooden rods. Eventually, this evolves into iron rods, supplemented by acupressure, Chinese medicinal diets, and secret tonics. With persistent dedication, one could attain a level akin to Brother Hu." Xiang Zhao continued, "Even after mastering this skill, it's still implausible to catch blades barehanded." "Don't be absurd," Wang Yu instinctively retorted, "but I witnessed it with my own eyes. How can you dismiss it? Are you trying to deceive me? You might not know this, Xiang Junling interjected, but the explanation is quite simple. Pay close attention. Brother who never directly meets the blade with his palm. There is a technique involved. Through specialized methods, he dissipates force and redirects energy, coupled with years of training. The density of his palm bones and the thick calluses make it nearly impossible to pierce, even with a needle. Ah, I see now. Wang Yi nodded in understanding. As he observed Xiang Long and Xiang Hu approaching Zheng Jigang, he began to grasp the nuances of their skills. The aura of martial prowess that enveloped them suddenly faded, revealing their underlying vulnerability. Their lives dedicated to relentless